Hey, Christine, can you hear me? I'm gonna keep eating until you get on.
Hey, sorry.
No, no problem. It wasn't 2 o'clock yet.
How
We were both on early, so that was no big deal.
are you? Okay. Yeah, I always try to put it on early just so that I don't like forget and then I remember that and put it on mute.
Yeah, no problem. Now, did you start on the budget? I think your design's probably good. All you have to do is just add that bathroom like we talked about in the Marco
Yeah.
Polo.
So do you think I should move like the dormer towards the end of the house? Or
I think you keep it the same and then just make it even longer than it was originally to the end of the
okay.
house. Does that make sense? Extend it so that way the bathroom will be
Huh?
part of it. So you'll go from like 10 foot to like 15 foot. But
Yeah.
now we don't have to worry about the bathroom because I was concerned. I just didn't know. I also seen the same thing you did. And I thought, well, maybe it's an issue, maybe not, because you do need some ceiling height for at least one
Right.
for the shower or for, the vanity or something. But
Yeah.
we should be good now.
So I was thinking, could I possibly move the tub and shower to the opposite wall and then have like two, I don't know if this is getting too complicated, but I was gonna try and use that slanted wall as like maybe like storage, like an open shelf storage instead of trying to put like bifolds and stuff in there.
Mhm.
And if I have to do like a his or hers vanity with a tub, would that be too much?
I don't think you'll be able to fit it that way. So
Yeah.
that might be the thing. Let me see. Can I see your drawing? Just like put it up to
Yeah,
the screen.
of
Maybe I can
course.
see it. So, okay, we think of it like that. And then you took away the bump out's gone, but I know where it will
Yeah,
go.
because yeah, I erased
Yeah.
because I wanted your feedback, you know.
So what I think is going to happen, and just looking at it, your tub and shower, what you're going to do is probably move it over to where it says toilet. It'll probably go there, and then
Okay.
you're going to gain 5 feet on the other side. So
Mhm.
what's going to happen? You have to take and find the point that's about 6 foot tall, and
Okay.
roughly, and then you'll just build a wall. So imagine it's like this,
Yeah.
right? So right now you'll just build a wall up to it like that around 6 feet. And then you
Okay.
have everything from that place over. But 6 feet,
Right.
what that would probably be is, or maybe 6 or 7 feet. I don't know if there's a spot tall enough where you can get it pretty close, 6.5 feet. What you can do is you can take and put a vanity across on the side where you're putting the tub, and you can do
Mhm.
mirrors that have lights in them. There's these mirrors we get
Yeah.
for
Oh
150
yeah,
bucks
you
with
can
the
just press
lights.
the button.
They got
Yeah.
Wi-Fi and all that. Yeah, they're pretty
Mhm.
awesome. And that way you don't need a vanity light because you won't be able to fit a
Okay.
vanity light in, but that'll be fine.
Right.
So you just need to figure out how tall does it need to be for the mirror and the vanity, which I think is
Mhm.
about 6.5 feet, roughly should
Okay.
work.
Okay.
So we could just do 6.5 foot down, and we'll figure out what that is, and then you got wherever you got now plus additional 4 to 5 feet. So what we
Okay.
need is we need 9 feet in order to make this work because essentially you're going to take and run the tub across and run the vanity across and put the toilet in the middle, and that works with 9 feet. That's what the minimum for that is roughly.
The minimum is 9.
Not 5 by 9, so like 9 foot in width with the way you have it designed. So I think we'll easily have that because we'll get 4 to 5 feet just in the addition. We'll lose like 3 or 4 feet by bringing the wall over, but we'll still be left, I think, with plenty to do. We have to do. It should be.
So
We'll probably
bring
end
it
up with
over.
10 would be my guess.
Okay. I get it. I like the idea with the lights in the mirror.
If we need to do that, but I mean that's an option.
Yeah, and I know sometimes they tend to be a little bit more well, not really, because I've seen them on All Modern for like 80 bucks.
Yeah, if you can get them for like 80 bucks, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I've seen them there for 80 bucks, but you gotta like order them out, take a while.
Yeah.
Which is I also I did start on the budget and I'm showing you over the thing.
Well, do you have it
Hmm?
you have it in the computer or are you doing it like on paper?
I do computer and paper.
Okay.
So when I go, because I had to go to I'm very visual, so I have to like go to the property to really be able to like see what I want to do there and visualize it. And where I'm extremely insecure about is the budget and
Okay.
making sure that I'm doing the math right. I suck with math. I hate math.
Yeah.
But I want to learn it. Like I'm not scared to, and I need to.
Yeah. Well, there's when I was in, I went to school for house flipping, and they had a course on like commercial real estate, and the math
Mhm.
was like they ever had a calculator, and it was just like what I couldn't figure it out, and I took it for like a month and couldn't figure it out. But
Yeah.
this math's easier. This is like basic math. Like you know how to do multiple, multiply,
Right.
divide, add. Like you can do.
Right.
That's all it's required. There's no kind of like crazy formulas and stuff. It's
Right.
little outrageous. And you just, like you said, you just practice the formulas until you know them because you're going to run into them quite often. So if you
Right.
write them down and, you'll just be able to come back to them. They're pretty simple formulas. I don't know if you guys are free on Saturday, but we are doing infield training. That's going to be,
We're going.
yeah, we're going to measure
Babysitter's
everything out.
booked.
So cool. Awesome. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be one of probably the better infield trainings we do for especially where you are right now. And if you want, if you can pull up your budget on a computer, you can share your screen and we can go over it. And probably like 10 or 15 minutes, I can have this thing like cleared up for you. Get a
Yeah.
lot more clear.
Maybe 1 second. This is the only thing is that we didn't get well, you sent it to me in Google Sheets. Okay, hold on.
I think I sent it to you. Maybe I can give it to you in Word too. I don't know what you prefer to work in.
No, I prefer Google Sheets. So let me just.
Okay. I have a feeling it's in Word probably. It's probably in Word, but you can always download that to Google Sheets like most people don't have Word.
Mm-hmm. So let's see here. Can you please mute that, please? Thank you, Austin. Yes, for right now. Okay.
At least be on 10.
No. That's the repair sign on that. You freaking sensitive. Oh, I know why. Sorry. I probably just like share it with you. Here we go.
You see in the middle of your drop down, it says share. Hit the share and I'll be able to see your screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like a little green box with an arrow.
I know, but I'm on a different computer.
No, it's Zoom, so you'll be able to do it.
Okay.
Just there's a drop down at the bottom. It's for anyone who's on Zoom. You should be able to do it.
Okay. Sorry, I have like a million things going off right now.
Or you could send it to me also, and I could do it on mine too.
Well,
Whatever's simpler.
I know. I'm sending it to you right now from this computer. I don't know why it's being. It's like you're signed back out, but I'm not. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry.
I got it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So as long as I have it, it's all that matters. Let's see if we can.
It's really annoying me right now. Okay, I got it, and I'm gonna share my screen if you need.
Oh, I got it. I'm already sharing my
Oh, you
screen.
got okay. All right.
I can go through and ask questions fast too. So no decks to do. It says Windows, $130. What do you just have like one window that needs to be replaced or something?
Well, I looked at and I'm like, I don't.
They're vinyl, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would have to see like what it looks like after I clean them up.
They'll look good. I mean, we've cleaned up some really nasty, dingy windows that look
right.
amazing.
I know some
You
elbow
get a
grease.
toothbrush and scrub them.
Yeah.
It'll make them look beautiful. And so anytime you have vinyl windows, we always repair them unless they're just completely don't open. But I remember those
Right.
were in shape.
They're
just
fine.
Yep. So clean them up and that'll save you some money. And none of them, what was the 130 for? Just clean up or something?
No, I thought about putting up a window in the dormer.
A window in the dormer. You will need to do that likely. So probably you'll need.
I was even thinking 2.
I'd probably say 2.
Side?
So
To let that light in because it's so small.
$500 for that. So about
Yeah.
$250 a window, and you'll
Mhm.
need 2 windows. So we'll call that about $500. Okay, because I
Right.
would probably say 2 windows makes sense also, because that's the only
Mhm.
lighting you have in the room. Like you said, there's really not much. There's like one other window, down
Right.
there, but
Exactly.
that would help. That would help a ton. That would really make it look nice.
Yeah.
You won't really need one for the bathroom.
There already be one in the bathroom.
Well, yes, maybe, right? It will
Okay.
be for sure, but when we move it, it's like kind of in the middle, right? Is it? If I remember correctly, it's like right at the point, or no?
It's right at like where the wall is.
Okay, yeah. So we should be able to keep that one. Hopefully,
Okay.
hopefully it won't get in our way of what we're trying to accomplish, and
Okay.
we don't have to eradicate it.
Right.
It's like we had to take it out for messing with us. So paint exterior, the house color was fine, right? We were just because it was
Right.
really
It's
nice
white
outside. That's good.
siding. Yeah, power wash it.
Yeah,
What about the
landscaping.
garage though? We're definitely gonna need a new big garage door.
I do remember that. So,
Uh-huh.
do you remember when you say big? Is it 8 foot or 16 foot?
Oh, it's 16.
That was that super big garage, right? That was one
Yeah.
thing we kind of forgot when we were comping that you have that really big garage. I did forget about that, so that could really
Mhm.
help with your two. You might be able to easily get more than
And
250.
it's two garages really because they must have added the one all the way to the right, but I mean,
Uh,
that's more for like your lawnmower, like your stuff for like the yard.
okay, so you're probably going to be like $1,000 total. Generally, like those doors cost like $600 or like 300 to 400 to install.
Okay.
You spend about 600 on a regular door and about 1,000. I'd say maybe you can call it even 12 just to be safe because it is a little bit there.
Right.
You know, we might be able to get it cheaper, but we'll see. Your curb appeal sounds right. You got exterior woodwork. Is there some woodwork that's messed up on the outside?
So I was just counting in the woodwork for the front porch. Like
Mhm.
there's no porch, like it's a piece of plywood. Like so I guess that wouldn't
So the deck or something, is it like a deck? It needs some. You're saying it's plywood, but you need some.
no,
Deck
it's
for
a
it.
piece of plywood put over concrete porch. So
Oh,
I haven't looked underneath of it yet to determine what the problem is.
so maybe we put that under decks or something, and just maybe put like $500. And we don't know the answer, but it'd probably be more of a deck, right? Versus
Yeah.
like the outside. The outside
It
woodwork
needs
is
a
like,
railing. It has no railing.
yeah. So we'll probably be like, let's be like 700 to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be safe, and we'll kind of run that. We'll figure it out. We're gonna have to get more
And
detail
then
than that.
additional woodwork, I was thinking, so remember we're taking those two, um, we have the 2 bedrooms, right?
Uh huh.
Now remember we're cheating and we moved the kitchen back here into
Yeah.
the bedroom to open it up, which I completely left. The one with that 1 bedroom, it has that side door. So I was thinking of putting the closet, framing that in when we do the closet. Is that possible? And we'd have to get some white siding.
Yep.
Close it up. And then would we have to demo that concrete from the steps that's outside, or could we do something fun with it to save on cash?
I mean, like, be fun with it. Like, leave it there because Tanya has steps coming off of her window.
I was thinking about putting like literally.
Did we get rid of your steps outside?
No.
Oh yeah, she still has steps. So it's okay.
I'll tell her I said hi.
Official. She said hi. No, you could save it. I don't think, again, at the price point, no one's going to be like, I need those steps removed. So you do.
I was thinking of putting the mailbox on there, like moving the mailbox out of there and maybe doing some like adding the mail.
Well, it's on the side of the house, right?
Yeah, so like think about this. It's like a landing zone for packages. You have your mailbox and then all your packages could be stand right there.
Put a flower pot on it or something. You might not want to move the mailbox just because you get the mailman. Like they don't want to have to come all the way up to the side of the house. You want the mailbox in the front somewhere where it's like accessible and easy.
I noticed that the houses with mailboxes close to the road had the fence, and the ones without a fence, it's on the house.
Yeah, we usually put it like right by the front door, and with the number mailbox and a light or something is usually the common like package we'll do. Something cheap and affordable.
Mm-hmm.
So that all looks pretty good. You got shed and garage. We've got curb appeal. It looks great. Framing, we have framing, but framing for right now, it says structural beam. All this sounds pretty good, but we don't have the dormer in here, and I don't know if the dormer somewhere else, or is it just not on here yet?
I haven't added the dormer yet because I was kind of waiting for your guidance on that of where to start.
Yeah.
Because when I think framing, I'm like, okay, well, they're gonna have to frame the dormer.
Yes, true. And I'm thinking that you're framing, like, are you just still framing? We need to keep the cost down because it's going to get expensive. So the basement, we're just going to frame like one room, right? Is that where we left off?
Micah was like, he doesn't even want to do a bathroom down there or a room. He wants to do it club to save on money.
I think that's a good idea, by the way. Tell us.
Me too.
Just do like a 12 by 15 room and, something like that ballpark, maybe a little bigger.
So I was cutting off the mechanical room and I'll clean that up and we'll spray it nice and clean. But then we just spray this. And he was like trying to get all funky and try to get a pool table to borrow from someone. So we stage it.
No, you don't need all that. They're
I
not too
know.
easy
I
to
was like,
move.
who's gonna be hauling that shit in and out of the house?
I know pool tables are
Not me.
made. You can't set them up right and all that because they need
I
balance.
was like,
But
maybe a foosball table. That is so little. But do you think that's just fine leaving all that open?
no, I wouldn't. That's going to eat a lot of sheetrock. I'd actually cut that in half and create storage. What I would do is when you walk down the basement is maybe just
Mhm.
cut it into two halves, right? So the half that's on the bottom I'm looking at where the mechanical room's not, just make it like right in the center and make one half the family room and the other half unfinished space with the laundry room and everything.
So like a family
All
room
that. So no, family room would be, we first walk down the steps, right? It's
is
all the way
right
over
down
right
here.
there. Yeah. So this half where the steps are, that
Mhm.
half from front to back would be,
Mhm.
that half will be the finished room. The other
Okay.
half will be unfinished. That way you only got to build one wall across and then frame in the other stuff and you're good. Keeps it
Cool.
really simple and it gives you a lot of storage too. So on the
Yeah.
other side now, if you're not, you'll have a lot of storage for things.
Perfect.
Makes life a lot easier. And that'll
Yeah.
it won't cost
So
you
we
much.
could. Would you suggest laying the basement doing all carpet?
Carpet through everything except for the first floor.
Yeah. Perfect.
So like living room, dining room, kitchen would be some kind of
Uh-huh.
probably do something like cheap engineered wood or something would be fine, or a cheap laminate or something. Either one probably would work
Yeah,
at that
because
price
it's
point.
not a lot of square footage.
Yeah, and probably like no more than 300 to 400 square feet
Yeah.
max. Oh, so framing. I'm thinking the framing for the basement, that wall will take somebody like 8 minutes to do.
Okay.
And then we were talking about removing just one wall to make the kitchen, right? That was it.
Right.
And I don't know if that needs a beam or not, but I mean that wall, even if it needed a beam, we're probably talking like somewhere in the ballpark of like $600 to $800 to do that. And you're
Mhm.
probably going to be about, maybe to do the addition, you're going to need probably to pay somebody like $3,000 for that. So you're going to be about maybe $4,500 for
Okay.
framing. And I'm going to put four because I'm going to keep. Actually, I think you can get it done cheaper. Because I had a guy just frame an addition the exact same size right in Middle River. You guys are welcome to come look at it if you just want to get a feel for how it works and
Yeah.
what it looks like, to see the framing of it.
What's the
And
address?
it's Middle River Road. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's Middle River Road. I don't know what is the unit address, Middle River? Can you give me that? She would not. The address of Middle River Road.
401.
It's 401 Middle River Road.
She lays on it.
Yep, she knows. So I just
Yeah.
go to it because I know where it is.
Yeah.
So they framed that in, I don't know, two days. It was like 2 days work. They just cut a hole in the roof, framed it up, and then put siding on it and everything. Really, the framing piece of it wasn't very expensive, but then you got to put the roof on it, and a couple little things. So you should be able to get somebody to do all the framing, cover it all back up, get it right because if you get two good framers, they could do all this in a couple days, so a week. I mean, have it sided, everything done, and it really good. And if it's two people for a week, that's $2,000 a person.
Yeah.
It's really not. I mean, you could get it done even cheaper, maybe. So now I'm giving you kind of maximum prices. Now,
Yeah. I'd rather that.
that being said, if you're now buying the materials for the basement, one wall is going to cost maybe $100 in materials. If you got to put a beam, that's going to be maybe like another $100, and then all the framing stuff you'll need for the dormer is probably going to be like $1,500. So maybe like $2,000 in material. So you can see the whole total cost really like $5,000 to probably do that dormer. It's not super expensive. It makes a huge impact. It makes a difference.
Mhm.
I think you're all good on this. This is pretty
Are
solid.
I'm sorry, are you taking consideration of the framing in the first floor for that bedroom to cut out?
Yes, I am. So remember, that's just one easy wall. 'Cause
Right.
we actually made it where all we have to do is just do a quick wall. It should take about an hour and a half or hour to put that wall up.
Okay.
That's easy stuff there. The harder stuff obviously is the dormer. It takes a little more skill. So
Mhm.
we've got demo and we got labor in material. So do you have all the furniture in the house and everything? So your demo is just like what's in the house, any walls you're taking down, then the dormer stuff. So yeah, actual pricing, materials. Um, Materials would be, I guess I'm assuming that's dumpsters or hauling away trash. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Know that if anyone tells you, oh, I can't do this, know that you can get almost anything you have on here done for half the price of what I gave you.
Okay.
It just matters that you're creative enough, because if you find people that are more like, I'll work for $200 a day and I'm a good carpenter, like then you just lock them into how many days and then just give them a set price. So they're like, oh, I can do
Okay.
this in 3 days. Hey, Christine, I can do this in 3 days and I need to make $200 a day. And you got $1,200 on. You say, hey, how about I pay you 700 and we'll just call it that flat because that way I can go back and get it approved. And they'll be like, okay, I'm making an extra $100. and now you're doing it for 700 instead of 12. They take more managing though when you do that. Obviously they're not going to be as you got to manage them more and be there and get more involved with them. But you save money, and when you're trying to keep the cost down, being able to save money like that, and especially with carpenters, it's always really good to have like a really good carpenter because they can do doors, trim, and now you can start saving money. Like if they could do that dormer, that they definitely can do trim, doors, and everything else. So if you get someone that can like really knock a lot of work out for like 150 to 200 bucks a day, they could be pretty invaluable to you, right? They could really be someone that pushes your rehab along, does lots of odds and ends for you at a cheaper price than what we have in here. So this would be how you get this cost down a little bit, because the secret is going through the line item and not overpaying for things. Because if you start asking people what it should cost instead of telling them, they're gonna be like, "Oh, it's 15,000." Like one of the students in the earlier call was like, "I got a price for electric. It was 16,000," and I'm like, "You can't pay that." Like she's like, "That's what I paid last time," and I'm like, "Okay, don't do that no more. You're gonna make me cry," because I've literally done like 1,000 houses. I don't think I've ever paid over $7,000, like period. So 16,000.
Well, wasn't she following the budget? Like,
No, she was. This is what she would paid before she got in the program. So she's
oh,
new to the
okay.
program, so she's obviously. I'm trying to break some of her old habits of paying that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was like, I mean, because when you think about it, the job she's doing is like 2 guys for 3 days, and they just charged her, and it's $1,500 in material, so they're making like 14.5 for 2 guys for 3 days. They're getting very rich, and we don't want them getting rich. Like, I don't know, they're making a lot of money at that price. So she, had the same thing on another guy too, and he's been able to get it down quite a bit. So demo and sheetrock, you got like $1,000 in. We're gonna save as much as possible. This all sounds pretty right. We do have the basement, so. We'll look at that and see. It's pretty solid, but we might go over on that. We have to find doors look pretty good. Trim. You're going to save all the trim in the house, so this should be a little cheaper. You should only be putting the trim in the basement. And if you're ever going to find something that someone could do cheap, this is something you can get a guy for $150 a day to work for you for 2 days and do all the trim.
Okay.
Like $300 in labor, and cut that down a little bit. And the material will be cheap if you go buy it from the cheapest place. Part of this program, I'm going to tell you where that is. Like there's places you can get like trim half price. There's places you can get doors cheaper. If you shop and you get really good pricing, you could drive down big time. And
that was going to be one of my next things after this is like, do you have just an area where I can go, places that you recommend for those types of things?
Well, as you're going through it, I think the simplest thing, so it doesn't get overwhelming, is like focus on the handful of things you need to start with and learn as you go. We always want to know like what the end result is, or what am I doing on step 9 when we haven't figured out step 1 or 2. The way I like to work is to really work on step like 1 to 3 instead of trying to work on all the steps at once, because it's very overwhelming to try to work on all of them and have all you could spend months getting the answers to all the steps. And where I find it's best for you to retain what you're learning is that we really focus in on the step you're currently doing. So right now, like step you're currently doing is putting this budget together. We're putting some serious focus into that, getting your design right, getting planned out, make sure you got a good plan. Next will be starting to hire some people. So it'll be the contractor funnel. So your next area of like, I'm going to put all my energy is going to be how to put an ad out, get people to call you, and then how to get them to do the work for either the price you have or cheaper. Right. And if you really want to try to be a star student, you'd be like, how about half the price? I'll do, and then see where they go from there. Because I've never had somebody not respond to an ad if I put it out, no matter how low it is. I've never went too crazy with it, but if I have some students right now, Darshan, who's in the group with you, he's been putting them out a lot cheaper. He's like, people have been saying yes, which makes me. Now I get beat up so much by students and other rehabbers telling me how low my pricing is that I've never even thought about trying to get it even cheaper. And he's been doing it consistently because he's trying. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I like it. I've done listened to too many other people, and it's causing me to be too expensive. But I'm cheaper than most, so that's all that matters. Is that most? So that's all. And these pricing are very good actually, but we could cut them down. So as you're doing this, you'll be looking for ways to just get the first thing done, which is the demo. Right, the second thing done would be like the framing and the dormer and all that. We'd be putting in a funnel. So your next month or two is going to be all like funnel stuff. You won't be making any kind of like final stuff, like where you need to pick like toilets and vanities. That'll be the second half of the rehab. The first half will be framing and demo and doing it all right. Get the drawings if you're going to pull permits and everything. Kitchen cabinets. This looks about right. That looks pretty solid. Good job on that. This looks really solid. That's you're only going to be one other, so yeah, we might be able to get that down a little bit. Get that down to 12. There is a vanity we found recently for like $800 for a double vanity, and then we can always get small vanities for like maybe 200. So we might be able to cut it down even more. And honestly, $50 each to install those. You could install these yourself and keep that $100. I mean, it literally takes longer to take them out of the box
takes-
than it does. So I know, it's like
it's-
2 screws and you're done. Exactly.
I've done it.
Yeah, it's way harder to take it out the box than anything else. Now the first
Cough drop.
bathroom. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, what's up, Alec?
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, okay, we're getting through it. So
Yeah, well, that's good, man. Hey, so I told you I'm working with some people right now. I'm trying to hire a guy who's going to like pretty cheap for like $25 an hour, who could do like some of the tech setup for the PPC. So like in Tanya, you know, I know you got a lot going on. If you want, she can help like set some of the words up for you and everything and do that. But the tech guy would be more of like the tracking stuff that like, honestly, I've been trying to get the students to do it themselves, and we've finding that everyone's spending like hours trying to figure it out. So I was like, I went on Upwork. Let me just find someone who can do it in like 20 minutes and, you know, charge us 25 or $50 to do it. We don't have to spend hours of our time trying to figure it out. But the other stuff, I can help you out when you're ready. Just let me know and I'll get it kind of all prepped and set up for you and ready to go. And then we can turn it on whenever you want to turn it on, you know? And so I'm just trying to get us as a team, I'm trying to get us a resource. So if you're like, Mike, I don't want to spend 3 hours trying to figure out how to do the tracking. I'm trying to find someone that can do it for me too, because me and Tanya have been spending hours on it too. And we're like, our time's way too valuable for this.
yeah, I'd definitely be interested in that for sure. I'm ready to go for sure.
Okay.
I'd like to jump on that for sure. So
Well, as soon as you're ready, just we'll set a time and I can get Tanya can show you what to do if you got time to do it, and she can help do some of them for you, whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can meet with her and she can help set that all up. And then the only thing that's left, we don't want to hire anybody for like the strategic part of it. We only want to hire people for the tech piece of it. You know, the stuff that like you got to be kind of a nerdy techie guy to know. And I don't want to take a lot of time to become a nerdy techie guy because I don't have time to become super smart with that kind of stuff. But the strategy of like how we spend our money and how we make choices, that's something we want to be really in tune with, and we want to be making decisions because we're the business owners. So like you can hire the best PPC guy in the world, and I still have hired some people who've claimed to be awesome, and not saying they're not awesome. They really know all the stuff, the cool things and everything, but they don't have a lot of common sense around like running a business and like what makes sense from a business standpoint. So since I've taken it over, I would say I'm getting a result that's like half the price of what I was getting with them. And I clearly am not even close to as smart as they are, but I understand the other side of it, like how we need it to work for us. Right. So I'll set it. You just send me a text and I'll set a time up where you can get that basics going. And I'm interviewing 2 people right now for like the last piece, which would be the tech piece. And so obviously I might be able to I'll hook you up with someone. Okay. So jump back into budget wise, let's go here. And Alec, as you're going through this budget, as you're seeing some of the prices, if any of these seem really low, let me know, because one thing I've been doing with Jeff, who's in California, is I've been looking over, and Michael Chow, who's in Toronto, I've been looking over their budgets to try to identify any place where you could bring more value and maybe get it a little cheaper, because we've been seeing some stuff get done really cheap lately, you know, depending on how you approach it. You know, if you hire like someone who has a big bill and they cost a lot of money, then they're not going to be able to do things super cheap. But if you get a guy just like good carpenter who's fast and wants to make a couple $100 a day and he can knock out a ton of work, that guy, you can get things like cabinets installed for $300, you know, 10 doors put in for a couple $100, all the trim done for a couple. You know, you start getting a lot done, right? The house is moving.
Yeah.
Things like that. And that's kind of who we want to always have, like one of those guys, like our overall handy guy. And you'll get that if you start running the funnel. You always have someone who can do it. That might be you right now, and it might at some point it was me, right? But you don't want it to be you long term.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I noticed, I don't typically last probably, I don't know, 15, 20 jobs is vanity. I use the same guy. I'm use white shaker right in the bathroom as well. I use the same outfit that I buy the kitchen cabinets from. Yeah. You know, I know sometimes it's nice to have something different, but my first time buyer level, I buy everything there. It comes on one truck. The same guy's putting them together. They go together the same way, so there's no.
Do you know how much he's charging you for the vanity though, overall? Like what the cost of it is?
They're cheap. They're cheap. I mean, like say a 30-inch vanity. I don't think it's even. I think it's probably $150.
Okay, so that's pretty reasonable.
Together.
Oh, you got to put it together. Okay, got it.
You got to put it top. Just like the cabinets. No, but I do the same thing with the quartz we use. Is the guy comes in and does a measure. It's like, hey, you know, include the vanities, put a top on them. He cuts a cuts a hole for an undermount sink, and does everything. And it's kind of, I don't know. I think on the whole, I'm saving because I'm not dealing with more than one, place to get it, and and it's all going in together the same way, and its prices are pretty reasonable. I mean, you look at a vanity, they can be, even a 30-incher can be $300-400 anyway, and I think I'm coming in under that. Plus, I'm saving on the time of.
Yeah, and it totally might make sense. It's not. I don't think it's cheaper when I've run it in the past, because if you're spending like $150 on the vanity, and then the top's going to cost you with the sink and all that, it's going to cost you at least $100 to $150. So you got to be at least like $250 to $300 on it. Normally, what we've been doing is we've been finding deals on like a 30-inch vanity at Home Depot. In Lowe's, they're running like end cap specials where you can get the vanity and the mirror for around like $199 to $249.
Sure.
And the mirror is like usually $40 or $50. So it's a pretty good deal. And like for your house, Christine, because yes, you're a first time home buyer, but she's even more first time because she's more like $200K and you're more like $400K. So, a little nicer in San Diego than what she's got. Basically you could definitely use the $199, Christine, on like especially on the one bathroom. And then you can find a pretty cool one. So like we totally just like, we find things that look nice for $199 with the mirror. That's crazy cheap because that's a mirror top and a vanity. And so that's what we're looking for to save money. And it might even save you some money. I mean, if you really want to nitpick like $100, like you said, it's probably $100 though. So for convenience reasons, I don't know if that's a beast worth tackling for you because you already have a system. But if you're making new choices, then shop for the best deal on them because that's going to be really helpful. Because you can save it. I'm always trying to save a couple bucks here and there.
Yeah, me too.
So let's see, tile, you've got 1,200. So let's see, that's going to be 2 bathrooms. You got your master bathroom, and so your master bathroom you're going to need about 50 foot on the floor, 80 foot, it's 120. The first floor, could we save the tile in that bathroom by any chance? I can't remember, but I thought it was in pretty good shape or something.
In the bathroom?
On the first floor, yeah, I remember it being like pretty decent, thinking like it was actually not.
Yeah, let me look at my pictures.
Yeah, let me know, because maybe we can do a cleanup on that bathroom, because the expectation of that bathroom does not have to be like.
Well, the toilet's it's not even a tub. It's a walk-in shower.
Well, that would be fine, because you're going to put a tub upstairs, so that's fine for that.
Well, what about for like a family though?
Well, if they got kids or something, like a baby, they could do it in the master suite.
Okay.
Probably living up there with them.
I just think it looks so raunchy, but you're right.
Well, raunchy, like dirty, yes, but you can take those things and paint them, clean them, a little bit of bleach. We got to find, so the only way we're going to not go like $70K on this budget and get all crazy is like, we got to
reuse.
We got to use something, right? And we got to pick our battles and figure out what we can save. At this price point, if you could clean that bathroom up, you'd be surprised. Like Tanya's house, the one we live in now, she saved the bathroom for her kids and she was not down with it. But I was like, eventually, once it was done, it looked nice.
Right.
It looked nice once she was done.
Yeah.
Especially kids, it's like probably way nicer than they need anyhow. Like you don't even see the floor we put in. It's just socks on it, right? So no one ever sees that. I mean, kids don't care, but it is actually pretty nice. It was brown tile, and we didn't really like the brown tile, but it was pretty nice. Back 6 years ago, it would have been the tile that was in style, but now it's not anymore. So we cleaned up the grout, we cleaned the tub up really nice, and we put some nice tile on the floor, which made it look nicer. And you might be able to do something like that there where you put like, so we want to look at it from a design standpoint. Like part of being a good designer is being able to take what you have and work some magic with it. Like if you get an ugly color, pick a good paint to complement it and put maybe just a nice, like more neutral floor down with it.
Okay.
And maybe a new tub seat, toilet seat, because we've had toilets that look like that, but just a new seat makes them nice. Get the brown wood one. That's my favorite, is the brown wood one. Like
dude, I think we could save the tile in there.
Yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, for sure. I knew something.
Dude, you're right.
Yeah, let's save that and just repaint.
The floor, this is the tub.
You see that, Alex? See, here, actually, you know what?
Yeah, I can't really see it.
You can't really see it. Oh, maybe that helps a little.
I'm sorry.
No, we can see it.
Refinish that stuff too, right?
Yeah, you could either refinish it or clean it. I think you could probably clean it and make it really nice.
Okay.
And then
the floor, I bet we could keep the floor too. It looks, I don't have any other pictures. I can double.
That's okay. So we'll look at that. If you can't keep the floor and you can't regrout it, then just put new tile on top of that. That would be really affordable to do. But now.
Yeah, you're right. We could totally keep that. And do you think we should just, I would keep everything, but just maybe update the shower head?
Yeah, like maybe update the
Really
shower
fun
head.
shower head.
Maybe put a new vanity in if the vanity
Yeah.
a new vanity. Maybe put a floor in. You know, if the floor sucks.
This is the
maybe put-
vanity.
You might be. I don't know.
I think,
You'll see it in
you know-
person and let me know, and then be like, Mike, what do you think? And
yeah.
so if I'm gonna save a bathroom, generally what I do tend to do is get a new vanity and maybe put a new floor down. That's it. And then do a new shower head and things. And it's usually solid because no one's gonna not buy the house once they've walked in that master suite. That's their
I don't think it's tile. I think it's laminate.
Okay, so maybe throw some tile down. But I don't know. I remember it
Okay.
being really clean. So yeah, maybe a vanity and some tile. And then a really
Okay.
good cleaning and get a good paint to complement what's already there. And add
Okay.
that, maybe like a nice light mirror will do everything you need.
All right.
Now we're talking like a couple $100 to make that bathroom awesome.
Yeah,
Which is
that
good.
makes me so excited because, like, I'm trying to really show Micah that we're going to make as much as we can on this.
Well, you're gonna learn more. He bought it for a little high number. That'll be the next thing we work on. I can show you how to get these cheaper.
Yeah.
Future reference, it's like
Hmm.
it's all going to be a combination of getting this done, selling it for more, and buying it for cheaper. It's a little on every front, but the price he has it as a fair price. It's not like overpay, but it's not going to allow you to make like $1 million on it. But you'll do well. Let's see. So now if we know we're just doing one bathroom, it's about 120 square feet. We normally pay about $4 a square foot to do that. So it's about, say, $600 in labor. You probably will end up doing tile on the first floor is another 50. So it's called about $1,000 in labor. I mean, again, we might be able to get this cheaper. And I do think we probably would only be about 700 material. So, because we're going to buy tile, it's about $2 a foot in the master, and the stuff on the first floor will be about maybe $1.50 a foot. So, 200 feet, $300. Your time you get all you got your backsplash, it's about say you're probably $1,700 is probably good for those two things. You got $1,800 to paint, that's solid. $800 material, doorknobs sounds fair. Bath accessories, we got $100 for the labor, that's fair. $60 good because we get that really cheap. We can save some money there. Hardwood, you got.
And I already have some here, and I have a toilet here.
Mhm.
in
Oh, cool.
storage.
Yeah, perfect. Use whatever you can, by the way,
Yeah.
within reason, as long as you don't have like some
Yeah.
shagadelic thing you got from your grandmother's house or something. You're not, don't use that, but
Yeah.
if there's something that you can use, no one will
Right.
care. As long as it, like the master is where we want to like make that wow them and make the living room, dining room, kitchen wow them, and the master and everything else. They'll be like clean paint and carpet is all they need, right? Just usable after
Yeah.
that. So you got $650 for hardwood. I don't know if you've actually measured, but you have your drawing right there, and your drawing basically, how big is it? What's the size?
29 by 15.
Oh, cool. Calculator. You got a calculator?
Yes.
Well, tell me
I'm
what-
gonna figure out my kids are.
15 by 29. Tell me what that is. And
Oh, no, I'm sorry, 25 and a half by 29. I'm sorry, that was upstairs. So 29 times 15.5 or 25.5,
just do 26 or whatever. Yeah. Or you said
Okay.
15. Yeah, 15 be 16.
754.
All right, it feels wrong.
It feels wrong.
You did say you were bad at math, so the
I told
calculator.
you.
But the
29.
calculator, come on. I feel like you don't have to be good at math as a
26.
calculator.
I did,
So
754.
15
No,
times
25.
25.
25 by 29.
No, that's not going to be, that's the whole first floor with the bedrooms and everything. So if you're just looking at the part, it'll get hardwood, which will be not the whole first floor. It would just be the living room, dining room, kitchen. That's
Oh,
probably
okay.
15 by 29 if I had to guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay, like 15 by 29 probably.
Hmm.
Okay, that's 375. So let's call it 400 feet. That'd be
Okay.
fine. So 400 feet times $1.50, that's right where you landed. So good, 650. And then 400 feet times 2 with like some pad and all that. Those numbers look really good for the hardwood.
Okay.
We'll see if we can steal a deal or something. That's all good.
Yeah.
Cleaning, solid. The cleaning thing you could do yourself or something. It's always good. Power washing, yeah, $200. That's a good another one you could do super cheap. Inspection repair, fine. Let's get into like plumbing. So plumbing, you got one bathroom. You're not going to do any plumbing in that. You need to move the plumbing for the kitchen, which costs a couple bucks, and do the master. $3,000, $3,500. You might be like 35 on that. I'm gonna leave you at 3, but we're gonna fight for that. Electric. I don't think we had to change the panel or anything in there. Everything was pretty solid. So
Mhm.
we're going to leave. What you're going to do in your house is save as many plugs and fixtures as you humanly can. Like, you don't need
Okay.
to replace all the plugs and switches. What I've commonly done, I don't know if Alex, he probably hasn't, or maybe he has. Like, if plugs are decent and they're just a little dirty, you can just take and get white spray paint that you use for plastic, and you take off the plate, spray it white, and put a new plate on for 50 cents. And like, in no electrician required, you could go do it in the afternoon while you're there doing something else, and you'd be like, "F you, electrician! I'm not paying you any money."
Yeah.
And you're just saving
How
them
about
they
it?
don't have to do.
Love
So,
it.
so you could basically just keep the cost down. I used to, like, my electrician used to always say, "Oh, it's easier just to put all new plugs and switches." That house is in really usable shape. It's a very livable house, so you do not
Mhm.
need all new. You're literally going to have to focus on just putting some plugs in the room you're doing downstairs, and doing some plugs upstairs in the area you want, and then adding a couple GFIs for like the kitchen or something. And overall, you should have most of what you need in just a few things. So no, I do think this number could potentially even be cheaper. Maybe put that at 3K also, because we don't have anything too crazy going on. And
Okay.
in this, we're going to get you to cut down because you're going to save a lot. So you only got 2 bathrooms. I'm going to cut that down to 7. And you're going to do some power shopping, because we can definitely.
Yep.
Now, did you need a new HVAC system? Because I thought that was in pretty good shape from what I
No,
remember.
that's completely fine.
Okay, so we're taking get rid of the 2800 for HVAC,
Okay.
because I remember that was in really good shape, and you didn't need
Uh-huh.
waterproofing either, right?
Mhm.
Because like the house was dry from what I remember. There was nothing there.
Everything was fine.
The roof, gutter, and soffit, that was all in good shape too, right?
Yeah, I think we just have to like either clean it or tint it. You said
Soft wash, okay.
soft wash. Is that what it's called? Okay.
Yeah, it's called soft wash.
Soft wash.
Appliances should be about 2K roughly. Might gotta
Okay.
get it cheaper depending on if there's a hardscape. Granite, kitchen that size, that's about right. Carpet, probably you might be able to get it better. You just got the basement, you got the upstairs, that's about right. You might get a better deal, but we'll see. Architectural drawings, I'll leave them on in case you don't need an alarm. Otherwise,
Yeah, we have one anyway.
cool. Then, how about the staging? Do you have your own staging equipment?
We
or?
have everything.
Sweet.
My whole garage is full of staging equipment.
Like you have couches, everything you need. Huh?
Couches, a dining room table. I have like kids stuff, set up kids rooms.
Okay.
We can get real. I mean,
Great.
we have room. I literally have furniture for a whole house.
Okay. Sweet. Then I think so this is where we're landing. I think that there's some things we're gonna have to fight hard for, and I would put the contingency at 5, and you might be at 55 even when it's all said and done. But
Okay.
even at 55, the deal works from what we remember. I think he bought it for 103 or something like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I forget that.
Yeah, the numbers work. So if but that's where we know it's 51.8. You probably could spend as much as 55. What we want to do through the whole process is anytime that there's a number on here and people are like drastically different, we want to have a discussion. Don't pay anyone more than what's on here,
Okay.
because the thing is, like, if you just get a couple people, they're going to be like, "Oh, Christine, you're crazy." Right? Hey, Alec, no way, dude. Like, he probably heard that before, right, Alec? Like, no way, man. Yeah, that don't happen. Then he finds someone, then he gets someone that's like, "Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. No problem." So
I
we have
think
to tell
definitely
them.
the research and the planning is so crucial, and I love that that's your approach, because you're really setting the expectation for everything. You've already done the footwork for it.
Sure.
Yeah, you're telling them versus it's one thing
Yeah.
I've seen in all successful flippers is they're kind of take charge and they're just like, "No, dude, this is what it is.
Yeah,
I'm not."
and I'm
Like,
not going to take it. Yeah,
yeah, I'll just call someone else, and
Right.
I had somebody tell me like, "Oh, well, you only get a crackhead for that price," and I'm like, "Well, actually." It's kind of funny because I thought this guy was a crackhead, and
Yeah.
my guy happens to be a private money lender. My freaking plumber, he has like 450K in the bank because he's been working for me for 7 years, making
Yeah.
well over 200K a year, and the guy don't spend no money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, he don't even have like clothes got holes in them, but the guy's got like 400 or 500K sitting in the bank with money he's made
Mhm.
with me. So like, he's not a crackhead. He's smart. One of the
Yeah.
reasons he can do HVAC so cheap, he buys like 10 units at a time and gets
Uh-huh.
these discounts and puts them in his garage, and it
Mm-hmm.
just keeps the cost down because he's actually a really smart business person, surprisingly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and these people were not smart, and they were so dumb that they couldn't even fathom a scenario where someone could do it for half the price and make a lot of money.
I'm
They were-
listening. I'm just packing my kids
because
up.
they were
Okay.
running their business incorrectly. So anyhow, that's good. Is that you sent to me? Do I need to send that back to you, or
No, because we share
the big
it.
ones drive?
So,
Okay, all right, cool. I thought so.
so since we both drive it, we have the ability to.
Okay, so there might be some additional cost on here, but I would focus right now on just getting, you've got that now. Now you just want to focus. I think your drawing's good. I would put an ad out right now just for someone running permits, and maybe you
I
could
already did it.
cool. So when somebody calls you for that and you find someone that's a permit runner, you'll be in good
Uh-huh.
shape. And
Okay.
that's who you would need to find. And we'll go from there. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm really
Awesome.
excited about getting this started. So find someone for the permit, and then what do you think the next, just focus on following someone for that, and then we'll focus on the next steps.
The next thing's going to be demo and then framing usually.
Okay.
So that'll be your next two things. Demo it out, then you're going to frame it, and then
Okay.
you'll have all. Then it'll be roughing in, electric, plumbing. Make sure everything's good, and then
Right.
from there it's just sheetrock, and it's pretty simple from there. We just go through it. But the first thing is getting all that framing done, getting everything done, getting the permits approved and everything. Because if you're going to pull permits, which I hate pulling permits, but this might be the one to do it on since you're doing an addition. And it's good to have that person there in case you ever need them, a permit person. Because one thing when you don't pull permits that you always have to be prepared for, if you get busted, it's really nice to have a team that you can call and say, hey man, can you go get permits for me? Like,
Yeah.
go there this afternoon. So it's nice when I always choose to do permits on some houses that I think I'm going to get caught on. And it also keeps my relationship with the permit people, at least reasonable. Because if you don't pull them at all and you don't know how, then when you do get busted, it's kind of a headache. Well, it's kind of a train wreck, honestly, because you don't have anyone to do anything.
Yeah. Can they put a stop worker order on the house?
They can do all those things, and they can give you a bunch of fines and all that. But I just weigh the risk versus the reward. Right now, I know there's things like putting additions makes you more likely to get caught. You also aren't too far from a busy road, so you're a little more public. So those are the times I always pull permits. Now, if you would have been just cleaning that house up, I don't think you needed permits on it, like what you were originally thinking. But now that you're going for full rehab, and in a lot of full rehabs, we don't do permits if we're just doing all the work on the inside, and the county's not overly picky. So, like Alec, you're in San Diego. I know California tends to be pickier. Do you ever not pull permits, or you just always have to pull them?
I never pull permits.
Sweet, you're just like me, dude. You're like a gangster.
It's the couple times I've got an issue like 3 times out of 160 houses.
Yeah, who cares then? Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, and when I started looking at stuff, I was like, okay, I'll do it, and it's like, yeah, we can get like for a panel upgrade, something like that, and they're backed up for 3 months to come and do an inspection. I'm like, I'll have the thing done in escrow by then. It just doesn't make it's nuts. It
is nuts. I totally never try to do the process unless I have to. And whenever I have 10 flips going on, I generally never want more than like 2 or 3 of them with permits. If I had all 10 with permits, it would shut my business down.
Right.
It takes a lot. It's going to take way longer to do permits, and it's harder, but it's a really good thing to learn and know how to do so that you have the ability to make this house really sellable. But for the most part, you won't pull them. I try not to pull them about 80% of the time. And then some I just know I'm not going to get away with. When I'm adding additions and all kinds of stuff like that, or doing decks. That's when they tend to come popping out on you when you do anything big that's additional on the outside, like adding a front porch, a back deck, anything like that. But interior work, I kind of go all out in there.
Yeah, because I'm usually not adding square footage, so just as a kind of sidebar to those numbers. But yeah,
something for you to think about, because I don't normally add square footage either, but where I am willing to add it is like if it's an addition, as far as like they're doing a dormer, so they're taking a Cape Cod and they're dormering out the second floor so they can make a master suite up there. So that's like a $5K thing, and it takes like a couple days to a week to do. And they're now, instead of having this little teeny bedroom that was barely usable, they're gonna have a nice master suite with a bathroom in it, which now makes it go from like a 3-1 that it was to like a 3-2 with a master suite. That's actually really good for the buyer, and then it's actually becomes a much nicer home.
It sounds like it. Yeah,
for like $5K, like not too big a deal.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't have those type of houses around here. Like the majority of stuff I do, a lot of them when I was trustee sale buying would have been like townhouses, so I don't have to do anything on the outside anyway. And then
you never got to mess with those.
Yeah, most of the other stuff is like a ranch. They're ranches around here. We don't
Do you ever have a time where, like, if you were to add a little, like, you could buy like an 800 square foot house and add like just a small addition? Like, how long does it take to get that approved in San Diego? Is it pretty long?
That's the problem. Yeah, you'd be 6 months before you hit a nail.
Yeah, so
Wow.
you can't do that then. That's outrageous.
That's why I just navigate around that, because
yeah, dude.
I mean, there's some places where the dirt's real expensive, like North Park is, if you look on the top 10 hippest places to live, North Park will be it. And it's, there was a ton of houses that were maybe a 5,000 square foot lot and a 2-1 that was 800 square feet. And those, because the dirt's so expensive, then if you can buy it right, it might be worth that 9 months.
That's what we're thinking here, right? I have my waterfront house that I'm getting ready to put a second floor on, but the square footage, the cost per square foot is worth putting $60K in to get $160K more.
Right.
But most of the time when people think about additions, I'm like, nah, I don't do that, because an addition just is too problematic. But for the dormer, we can walk those through and get them either approved the same day or within a couple days to a week. It's not within 1,000 foot of water. So if it's in 1,000 foot of water, it's considered a critical area, and that might take somewhere like 2 to 4 weeks. Not the end of the world. Like my house on the waterfront, I know that's like a maybe 1 to 2 month process with the right people doing it. So that is one of the things. We can get permit runners, and permit runners like know how to work magic. Like I go up and do it. It's like a year process because I'm like talking and saying the wrong things, doing the wrong stuff. They go up there and they know exactly what to do, how to say it, and how to expedite it essentially.
Sure.
So, I don't do very many additions either. I can tell you I've probably done under 10 or 15 in my life. And I'm opening up to it now because there has been a few opportunities for me. Like I almost sold my house for $430,000 instead of getting $600,000 for it, and for $60K investment. So for 60 more K, I can take it up to a $600,000 home. Like that's nuts. I almost missed that opportunity because I'm like you. I'm so like anti-addition. Like just like I want to keep everything simple. But I have been more open to dormers, and I will tell you that I'm currently doing 2 dormers out of the 10 houses, and those deals only could be done because I have a good guy who can do dormers in like 3 days. He just comes out 3 days, knocks it out, charges me like $2,000 to do it, and I got a dormer. And now the houses I bought become really like optimal opportunities to sell for like premium money over with just like a 5K investment, nothing crazy. And
no that's great.
Either. So just, opening up to the opportunity. I'm just, I don't know. I'm very like you. I just like keep it simple, and I pass on anything. But dormers aren't like, I don't consider those additions. They're just like kind of easy.
Cool.
This easy stuff. Alex, what can I help you with? What are you working on? You got some houses going right now, or?
I bought one at the trustee sale. It's actually a little condo, and I'm evicting the holdover owner. So other than that, I just closed on that one. It was on Newton that I took the dog and everything, and I camped out in front of her house that one. So we closed that a couple days ago. So I'm just on the hunt for something new. So
you say you closed it to buy, or did you close it to sell it?
To sell it, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is that the one that you had the offer initially at $450 on, then someone backed out and you relisted it?
Yeah. So we ended up at $421, well, $430 with like $9,000 to help. So
okay, well,
but it was
more than you expected, right? Yeah, it was way more than you originally expected.
Oh yeah. We went in, we purchased it at $280. Did a really pretty easy rehab, maybe $23,000. So I ended up with $421 net. I mean, it was a great deal.
That's a really good deal.
Yeah.
That's kind of like be a great reason. Can I move? How big is the house you live in?
My personal house?
Yeah, your personal house.
Oh, we got a guest room, man. You're all right.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, can me and Tanya move out with you? I mean, like, dude, I so would want to move right now. It's like cold here.
Oh yeah, that's right too. It's cold here too. It's like 55, right? Yeah.
Oh, poor thing.
Yeah.
That is as cold as it gets.
Yeah, get used to that, new girls, because like I'll be serving that up.
It's not actually that bad right now.
It's pretty out today.
It's nice right now. We've been getting lucky, but that usually is followed by like 2 weeks of zero, and then that's when I start dressing like an Eskimo, and I can't move, like a snowman, because I don't like to get cold, man. I totally could live in California or Florida if my family wasn't here. I would love to live in a warm place because I have nothing
Nice.
to. I would not miss the cold 1 second.
Oh man,
There's nothing. You came from Boston, right? So
Yeah,
Massachusetts, right?
Oh yeah.
So now is this house you guys got on the board here? Is that something close to you, Mike, or?
Yeah, it's pretty close to me. Yeah, it's really close. I mean, it's like probably a mile or two from where we are right
Oh,
now.
geez.
Over. It's really super close actually.
Great.
Tanya lives in Middle River, and this is like right off of Middle River Road or something. Like it's pretty
Oh,
close.
okay, cool.
Mhm.
It's just by luck. No, it's just luck chance actually. It's like that they were like, yeah, where's your house at? Oh, it's okay. It's like a mile and a half from where we live.
I love that.
It's
We love
literally
it
about
too.
2 blocks away from the Chick-fil-A we seems to eat at like 2-3 times a week.
Well, yeah, we just got a couple of those out here. So
Oh, good.
Well, I'm surprised because they're so against Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A don't like gay people. So they're like in California, they're banning Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Like everyone
Really,
give you.
really?
Oh yeah, they're super passionate about Chick-fil-A.
Really?
They have like a lot of it's California is really upset about Chick-fil-A's. Like you can't.
really, I didn't know that. Huh?
Hmm.
Hey, chicken's good. So
I like Chick-fil-A.
yeah. No, I was just I've been haven't had a ton of time, as you know, to kind of focus on this, but I've come in second place a couple deals. I've got a hold of the broker, kind of built a little relationship, and just I guess didn't offer enough money to win the deal. I've seen a lot of them seem to be like kind of probate deals where built in by someone. I don't know if it's something to do with the trustee or whatever, but they want to market it for 10 days, and it's like right in the ad, and
Yeah, that's usually not going to be a
Ideal,
good situation.
right.
Yeah, 10 days is enough to get like all the slow money in, and you're gonna.
Oh yeah. So we've discussed before that I'm probably fairly conservative, and I wanting a deal, so I'm kind of pushing that a little bit and getting me into second place, but I haven't won anything recently. So yeah, I'm on the hunt. I just did.
Do you have enough time to work on the PPC and get it going, say, the next week or two?
Yeah, for sure. I'd
All right, cool.
definitely like to, because that will give me a little more time for taking care of my wife, whatever. So, but
It won't be instant. It takes time, but
oh, for sure, I know.
we can get it going in the background. It only take maybe a couple hours to
Yeah.
get it going, and then once it's going, then it's going in the background, and we can tweak it out over a couple months, and if we can just get the phone start ringing, you're really good with people once you're in front of them. That's all you're
Yeah.
need, be in front of the right people.
Yeah, for sure. And I got a couple decent prospects on a knocking some doors. I kind of go through the foreclosure list, and there's a guy he owns a duplex kind of downtown. It's boards on the windows and the whole thing, and he lives real close to me. So I'm gonna go try to knock on his door. He's like in his 80s. It's in foreclosure.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got tons of equity. It's like kind of like he probably just needs to get rid of it. So I want to see if I can make that happen.
He's being foreclosed on, so you'd be doing him a major favor.
Yeah, for
He
sure.
might
I
be
don't even-
sick or something. Yeah, he might be sick or something.
Yeah, there might be something like that going on. So that I want to give you guys a heads up on. I know we were talking about lending home, that they were putting out some pretty decent rates, and I went and had to refi this condo that we bought. We paid cash for it, and I'm so I can keep buying stuff. And there's a outfit in San Francisco as well called Conventus. And you couldn't get this as a kind of like a brand new guy, but with a track record, a decent one. They just refied 90% of cost. I didn't bother with the rehab budget because it's like this condo I bought, it needs a paint job and the tub refinish, and that's it.
Yeah, a couple K.
But we ended up at 0 points and 7% interest.
Dude, that's nuts.
It is.
Well,
the money's getting so cheap that like wherever you go, just remember the takeaway is like don't be satisfied with whatever you got now. Because I mean, this is like in 2 deals ago, I was paying 8% and 2 points. Now I'm down to 0 points. I don't know how they make any money. Frankly, I don't care, right? Because it's like, you know. But I check them out if you're you know. But
well, so the
I'm
question,
sorry,
so the question,
gal's name? Which,
oh, I don't
is
know.
it Christine?
No, it might be. Let's see what we got going on. So I think we're good now. It's always something to do with Nancy, probably. I muted you. So basically, then that's super cheap. The question mark, obviously, is when you say how are they making their money. I kind of like to know the answer to that because sometimes I've always found when people seem really cheap, there's some way they're making the money, whether it's junk fees, whatever it might be. There's something. If there's none of that, then we just got a good deal. Obviously, I know that the main reason is, though, like if I had to just quickly assess why they're giving you such a good deal, is well, you're not asking for any rehab, and you're putting skin in the game. Like let's just say, and you have a track record. So anytime you're putting skin in the game and you have a track record, then the cost does get driven down quite a bit. Like Micah and Christine are going to a bank and they're getting like 6% and like a half point at the bank, but it's a bank that's like, acting like a hard money lender. They're, closing quickly and making deals possible.
Quickly? Yeah.
A couple weeks or so, not like, in a day or two or anything, a couple weeks, but that might not be quick enough for like a competitive, but for like their deal, it was okay for most of what they do. And it's really cheap because they're going through the bank. The banks are acting like lenders now and willing to lend on rehabs. But, still probably like more of a 3-week process, not like a, week process. But most of my deals, I get 3 weeks anyhow, because I just don't even like to try to make all these decisions and have to try to figure everything out in like a week or two. I will if I have to, if it's a good enough deal, but not for like a standard deal.
Right.
So, yeah, that's good, man. I'd love to check out both of those people. Lending Home, I need to get connected with them because Jeff, who's in California, said that Lending Home is now doing 100% financing for them. For him at I didn't ask him the rate, but it was a 10 and 2 probably or something cheap. But they were giving him 100% of the money, which is important.
100%, really?
Yeah, 100% of both rehab and in purchase.
Right.
So he just had to bring closing costs and like points and closing costs.
That's nice.
I don't know what the cost of the other money is, the money you're bringing in from other people, then that it's probably cheap, but ultimately like he doesn't have to do that now. So it's actually working out for him.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I'd love it. If you can send them to me, I'd love to check out the Conventious or whoever it is. And you mind sending me your contact for Lending Home?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, because I'm trying to pair because Ray's dealing with them, Jeff's dealing with them. I've dealt with them before, and when I go, I'm going to try to talk to them for the group and see if they're willing to do something for the group. Like I don't want to make any money. I just want them to. I want to find like a deal where the group, because see, when the group new people come in the group, they're smarter than usual. Like the people, like my new students have never done a flip or like better than most people have done 20 flips. So, because they come in super well prepared, planned out, like thought, they're getting good advice. I'm essentially project managing with them if they're working with me. So as long as they're still in the coaching program, and most people are if they're doing a flip, then I'm essentially like their project manager and working with them. So it's a lot less risk. And I want to talk with someone who would be willing to say, yeah, man, that's a different scenario. That's way less risk. I haven't had a student date like default or be late on payments to date. Like I'm doing it 3 years and it's a short period of time, but I've not had one student like out there just doing awful stuff. Everyone's been pretty awesome. Great. Been very fortunate. So it's very good, safe bet for them. And I want to talk to them, but I'm trying to get a few people before I talk to one person because the rates aren't as bad. So PPC then, so PPC will work on that. I'll put a time.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific time you want to talk with Alex and to help him kind of walk him through the PPC and get him going?
I have one video before, but
Yeah. Have you seen the video she did as the training?
No. I think I shot you a text like, hey, send it to me, but I haven't seen it. So because I missed that day, so maybe I start there.
Start there.
What's that?
Start there.
Yeah.
As soon as you've watched it just one time and did like some basic stuff, give her a call and then she can finish it out with you and make sure check it, finish it with you, and it'll be good. If there's anything that gets like too time consuming, then just be like, hey man, just jump on the call because she can help walk you through it. Because it's what I don't want to see anyone do is spend like 2 hours trying to figure out something that we've already spent 2 hours figuring out.
I'm with
10 minutes
Yeah.
to it. So like, yeah, don't, if you're doing that, then don't. But yeah, so can you send Alec, do you need his email or send it
You
to
already
me?
send them, sign up for an account.
Oh, do you already have an account set up for AdWords or no?
I had one. I don't. It's probably dead.
Told me a
Yeah.
long time ago. It's actually probably still there because funny enough, when I started mine, it was there from like 6 years ago. So it doesn't really go anywhere, I don't think.
Oh,
But-
yeah. Then I would. Yeah, because I set that up with Lead Propeller and all that.
Yeah, you know what? It's definitely still there. So just
Okay.
the nice thing about taking your old account is we can start a new campaign that has nothing to do with Lead Propeller, but we can look at some of the data of Lead Propeller and we can actually study it and see what worked. Because if you already spent like a decent amount of money with it, you've got some data that we can go off of.
Okay.
That
Sure.
we can hack. That's what I did. I spent about 40K with Lead Propeller advertising, and I went through it and looked at like the only keywords that are actually really profitable, and that's how I derived a lot of the keywords we're going to start with for you.
Okay.
Because I was like,
Okay.
why? Like they had about like 50 keywords in there, and I'm like 10 of them were doing all the heavy lifting, and 40 were basically like it was like a crazy per crackhead spending my money. I was like,
Mm.
why not get rid of these? And then everyone's like, whoa, you need these for this reason. I'm like, I don't actually need keywords that aren't working spending my money for any reason. So
Right.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't understand it. Until you can make me understand, I'm not doing it anymore. So
Yeah.
come to find out, they were wrong. They were just doing testing with my dollars, like, trying some stuff to see if they could get lucky and find a miracle word. But I've been doing PPC for 10 years now, and what I found is there's no real miracle words. There's a handful of keywords that actually get the right kind of people in front of you, and anything outside of those keywords tends to get random people in front of you, right? Like if you put house buyer, then like it could be anyone. You put in like sell my house fast, that's someone that's like specifically very motivated to sell. I mean, that is going to, you're not going to get perfect, but that is going to definitely weed out a lot of the weird people. So we definitely don't want to pay for things that, could be like anything, right? It could be just super random. But if we want to be very specific with a handful of keywords, and then we want to crush and own those keywords through doing like really good, just like, marketing of them, paying for the bids, knowing that they convert well, and then doing some SEO later. And that'll be the next piece once we get this going, is talking about like how to build out some SEO. And I'll probably, like anything we do, I'll find someone who can do it for us, or, really affordably. And I like putting things together. It takes a lot more time, but when I put it together myself, I have control over it. I can make sure it's working. And, and often I can save a lot of money with it too.
Yeah.
It gives me more room to do it long enough for it to work, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. How's it going with yours? Like you probably 4 months in now on the new?
We're 4 months in. It's going pretty good. We cut it off like 3 weeks ago just because we got too many deals, and we were just like, we're spending marketing money, and I'm like, I want to keep spending marketing money with too many deals. And I think my tracking was broke too, so that was like perfect time. And my tracking was broke. That's why I'm getting this guy, because we were like spent a lot of time fixing it, and we finally got it fixed. It worked for 2 months, and then I was like, man, I don't want to go back through that, because even though we figured out how to fix it, I still didn't understand how to fix it. It was very complex.
What broke down?
The tracking, like the ability to have like a call rail come through and it track it. It's very difficult with call rail, but when you do it with like just regular tracking, it's easy. But the call rail is more complicated. We got someone to fix it. It took him 10 minutes to fix it after she spent hours, and Delonte spent like 6 hours and was like, gave up. I've never seen him give up on anything. And he was like, man, I'm done. Just get someone to do this. I can't do this anymore. And this guy just did it 10 minutes, but then it like randomly broke for some reason like 2 months later. And, we're not working with that guy anymore. So now we got to get somebody from Upwork who can do it for us. And we really don't need deals right now. I got too many deals. I'm at a place where we like bought too many houses, and I got a little too much inventory. So I don't want to, I don't want to be paying for marketing. It makes no sense to do that.
Every time you say, I've got too many deals, I'm going to say it's 60 degrees out here. So just so.
Yeah. Rubbing it in, dude.
The
thing is,
I don't have enough deals, but I got 60 degrees. So I'm just, I'm just trying to level the playing field.
Well, here's the thing. You could get too many deals. I can't get 60 degrees. So that's unfair.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of like the fat and ugly thing, right? It's like,
yeah. We can get you to getting too many deals for sure. Every student's worked with me any period of time. Like Ray didn't have enough deals when he started. Like most people come in don't have enough deals, and that goes away pretty quickly once we get a routine and we start to figure out what's working well and optimizing what you're doing. Because like right now, you've done a lot of deals, so the question is always going to be like, when what you've done over the years isn't working anymore, it's not saying that it doesn't work anymore. It's saying, okay, the way I did it does not work anymore. So now I have to bring, 2.0 version of what I used to do that will start working. Like Courthouse Steps stopped working for me 4 years ago. And then I was like, almost gave up on it. And then I realized, like, what would it take to get the 2.0 version? And I did. And then I did for like 3 more years. The only reason I quit it recently was not because it wasn't working. I just found easier ways to get deals, and that didn't require me like doing all the research. And also here, they make us put really big deposits down, and then we just sit on them for like 6 months. So I was like, I didn't love the fact that I had 200K sitting in deposits for like 6 months at any period of time. It was kind of driving me nuts. So when I did get abundant otherwise, I was like, yeah, I'm going to stop doing it, because it required me having like a lot of manpower to do it at a high level. But I got a 3 years out of it. And if I wanted to do it today, I could totally do it. Like I just stopped doing it like 8 months ago. So it's not like I had not been doing it for years. It was totally working then. What we found though, Alex, was that it was not, it wasn't working in like 2 counties easily, but it was working in 1 county. And the county it was working in, surprisingly, was the best of the 3 counties. But it was doing 3 counties and then seeing, for some reason, like sometimes you got to find the niche. And so what we found was PG County was a niche for us, and Baltimore County and Baltimore AA County was working, but not as well. Now, instead of like me trying to do the heavy lifting and forcing those counties to work, I just put all my focus in the county that was working, which also happened to be the county that was making me the most money in the flips anyhow. So I was like, who cares? And we did legitimately have one guy that there was like literally one dude that was stopping the whole process of buying stuff in Baltimore County for 6-month period. Now I'm sure he's bankrupt at this point. He bought everything for too much. I was pretty convinced he was like some kind of drug dealer or something, trying to like embezzle money or something. Cause I mean, he would just literally, dude, he's like literally was paying numbers that make no sense. And he would come every day and buy 3 or 4 houses every day for like 6 months. And paying numbers that were more than retail often. I mean, I'm like, I don't know what game that is. I mean, maybe that was like that next level.
What was he trying to do? Like, what was his end goal doing all that?
Bankruptcy is what all we could come up with, is like the guy's like, you ever seen Brewster's Millions? Like probably pretty old. Now you might have seen it, Alec, or maybe Nancy's seen it, but it's a movie with Richard Pryor where Richard Pryor inherited like $1 billion, but he had to spend like 100 million of it in like a month. And like, and he couldn't buy like assets. So he had to just go blow it. And it was like, if he didn't, he wouldn't get the rest of the money or any money at all. So he had to go to like, his whole thing was trying to blow like $100 million in like a month or something, or 30 days. And that's what I think these people are like. Brewster's Millions, like someone like, you need to get rid of this money. Let's go burn it. I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he had a bunch of suckers he was selling it to, and he was just buying it and selling it to like suckers, because that's what he was telling me. We asked him, he's like, yeah, man, I'm wholesaling these off, man. I'm getting paid. But I'm like, okay, I don't know who you're wholesaling them to, because you're paying 30K, 40K more than me often. So who's paying 50K more than me? I don't know who that is, but often he might have, like, sometimes you get one goofy buyer paying too much, and you just like, again, whatever he was doing, what I do know for a fact is he wasn't an idiot, right? I doubt that he was actually going broke, because he wouldn't have done it for even 6 months. If that was the case, he would have figured it out a lot sooner. What likely is happening is he found some niche that he's exploiting. And whether that's having like one Asian buyer who's trying to like, invest like $5 million, and, some sucker who's paying him to go find the deals, that's his niche. So he might be like, because we've seen that before. I've had like guys like, I got 5 million. I want to buy real estate. Here's my criteria. He looks at the criteria. And then what I think stupid is he's like, oh, that'll be easy to win, because that's more than everyone else pays, because they're not thinking flip. They're thinking like buy and hold it. Or, so he probably was basically exploiting a niche, essentially, is what he was doing. I'm sure he was not just blowing money, because he was definitely no dummy. No dummy comes and buys like 3 houses a day.
Yeah.
Like they come buy 3 houses and you never see them again. I've seen that happen before, like 3 houses, and then they're getting divorced, and because their wife finds out they done lost all life savings because they got pumped up about buying real estate.
Right.
But so in general, there is a way. There's a 2.0, Alec, right? There's always the 2.0 version of anything you want to decide to do. MLS could be the exception, but there is a 2.0 version of that. If you really wanted to nail MLS, spread out more, go deeper, go multiple levels in, like we were talking about. But if it's too much work to go to the 2.0, Alec, then you might have to get some leverage, right? So sometimes 2.0 on certain things require a lot of heavy lifting and manpower. And so what we do instead is that's the time you'd want to get a VA to help, right? Like a VA start calling like things that are under contract and are in bad shape, really just like going through the whole list and doing that. Or the foreclosures, like you said, I'm calling these people. You know, in order to get like more diligent about what you're already doing, that's when you bring VAs in and stuff. And that's what we did on the courthouse steps. Is we got a VA starting to do like all the due diligence on all the figuring out like all the liens and everything. Well, that's a lot of work. So we had a VA doing that for us, and then just packaging it up for us every week. Then I got a property runner to go look at the properties and do videos for me. So now what was happening is instead of me being able to go see like 5 or 10 a week, I could literally go and see like all 3 counties. Then I could do that efficiently because someone was doing it for me. But then we would weed that down to about 15 properties a week that I would evaluate and we'd bid on. And then they would actually, I even paid someone to go bid for me because I was like, you know what, I don't have time to be on the courthouse steps doing all that. And that was yielding me 1 house a month when I got 2.0 version of courthouse steps. But heavy lifting though, I felt it was kind of a headache to me to get somebody to go see. He'd have to go see 15 properties over a couple of days. He'd do videos. He'd upload them to YouTube. Then I'd have to comp them all. Then we'd have a VA to be running all the numbers on them. I paid her.
Yeah.
I paid her $125 a week to do that, and she'd do like the whole deep research on it and everything. And I was paying him maybe this was costing me like $1,000 a month or $1,500 a month, but I was getting one good deal a month off the courthouse steps doing that. So like that's solid to me. It's
that's those numbers work for sure.
Yeah.
But it's 2.0 version, right? It took me getting outside of me trying to do everything and figuring out like, because how I would win on the courthouse steps, by the way, which is no like magic. There's nothing magic. It was purely that I would go through numbers. I would go through like, I feel like you're really good at like getting into the details and figuring it out and making it work. But the key was there's only certain things you need to get into the details in. So like taking the things that you don't need your high level of knowledge on and getting others to do those will allow you to get even deeper into the details on the things that matter. So what I was doing with the courthouse steps is I would start with 100 to 125 properties. They would weed it down to like, okay, here's a bunch here's a criteria I would create. My criteria always was I wanted to research and see if I knew that I had a high level of winning if there was more if the mortgage was lower, right? If there's a super high mortgage, it was less likely the bank wasn't going to buy it back. Like, and the bank wasn't going to bid and take it, not let you actually win it. So I noticed that I had a higher level of winning when there was like equity in the house. If there was any kind of equity, then there was like, it really greatly increased my chances. So, and not saying that sometimes they don't just, sometimes they would come out and surprise the crap out of me, but I could look at like the last 400, 500 properties I looked at that I only was winning about, 10% of those versus like 40% the other way. So I just seen a big uptick and like, so I could almost say, get rid of those because they actually are eating like, 70% of my time for only getting me 10% of my results. So where most of my results were coming from were this one my niche, right? My niche was this price point, this amount of work. Like it's just a perfect amount of work. There was a certain amount of work. There was a certain age of house that people weren't as aggressive on. I've also noticed that if things are occupied, people definitely take their foot off the gas for sure. Occupy was huge. And you put a good team together, they evict people and it's not hard for you. And, you're buying the deal at a good deal. Who cares, right? You just get them out. Like that's not heavy lifting because that's all delegated out. As long as you're not doing all the paperwork and everything, that's really not a big deal. So knowing that it was like a certain age house, a certain amount of work that if it needed like under 30K in work, I'd have a really hard time winning. I get some, but I have to do some serious work to get that. Now, if something needed like 50 to 70K, that's when I could really, and if it needed 100, I was really in a very desirable spot. I don't want to do a bunch of 100K renovations, but I knew like my niche was around like somewhere between like 40 to like 70K renovations. Because the other guys were looking for the easy stuff, the stuff they could just buy and put the paint carpet in, and they would overpay for it. But they wouldn't overpay for stuff that needed 50 to 70 because that they would get more like, okay, they would start actually respecting the numbers around that kind of, and that, so like things that tend to be like 1910 to like 1940s and 50s were a lot easier to get than things that were in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. But
Same
I
here.
still got some good deals. I've still got some newer deals there. But it required things that had occupied, things that had mold, had water in the basement, packed with furniture, things that the general investor would just not like, would look at and would over react to. Like I look in a house, and you didn't see this yet, but we had an infield training, and by the way, we do have something in February. I don't know if you guys can make it or not. I think it'll be late February or something. We'll be doing it, so we're figuring out the weekend now. But we had an infield training last February, same time, and we went through a house that was completely filled with mold. 8 months later, I got the deal. I tried to give it to all my students, but they were all like, "I don't want it." Like, why are you trying to give this to us? And it's like, it's a big piece of crap, Mike. And I'm like, it's a deal. That's why. Like, who cares about the mold and the roof? There's no roof on it. So there's just waters coming in. It was a mess. I'm not going to lie. But like, I just looked at it like $15K. I had the roof put on. I had it waterproof. I had some joists replaced. I had the mold remediated. I had everything ripped out for about $15K in about 2.5 weeks. And it was waterproofed, everything. So it was back to ground zero. And then now I got to do a 60K, 65K renovation. And the numbers look good on it, and no one else wanted it though, because it was nasty, no doubt, but no one else wanted it. So I have made my living doing that. Not saying that I want you to take on shithole properties, because obviously it's a lot of work, but it's sometimes just a small tweak from where you are to maybe slightly more that you'll see an uptick in winning ability, right? And that's what you want to start paying attention to. Like, where do I win more often? And then once you understand that, you can start to put like a really strong, the 2.0 strategy comes from understanding the data and then saying, you know what can I do to just crush those deals? Like, how can I create a competitive advantage on those specific deals? And yeah, what do I do? So we started doing more counties. I don't love PG County. It's like 30, 40 minutes from me. It's a little bit of a hike, but what I found was PG County was such a great county that when I would go to PG, I was averaging 50, 60K a house most of the time. So I was literally, yes, I had to travel more. I found a great contractor that I didn't have to micromanage. So I barely ever had to go there, just to buy it and stuff. And I got my runner. So that was my solution to running all around PG, for a whole day. I paid someone to do it. I gave him 15 or 20 bucks a house to go do a video and climb all up in the window and get yelled at. He'd like video, and he'd have video like he was like the paparazzi, man. He was funny. And he'd do a good job, and he's super happy because every week he make like 200 bucks. And he'd just go work like a day and a half, and I'd be like, here's 200 bucks.
Cool.
It saved my time, and also it gave me the ability to win, because like volume is always going to be the key to winning on the courthouse steps. So you're right. If you're looking at one property a week, it ain't enough, right? It's like sometimes there ain't a whole lot of volume. So stretching out so you can get more volume is good. So finding a way to do that. But anyhow, that's the secret. And then if you find it like, if I really work the courthouse steps and I'm only going to get 4 deals a year, then okay, then that's it. That courthouse steps represents 4 deals a year, and that's okay, because it's one piece of the puzzle. It's part of the foundation. That piece of the puzzle, how do you do it the easiest way to do it though, so it doesn't consume all your time, since it's only a 4 deal a year source? So for me, it was a 12 deal a year source for me, but it required a lot of energy, time, and investment in managing people, and that's why I chose to stop doing it, because I was like, other things were working easier. Right, because I found a niche on the MLS that I'm crushing right now. So it's always about finding those niches. They exist in every market: Toronto, San Diego, LA. They're always a niche, right? The thing is, you just gotta like, there's always some niche that other people avoid, right? Some thing that somebody told people, some gurus like, don't buy houses on a busy street. Don't buy condos, right? Don't do that. At my Middle River Road, Christine, if you go to look at it, you'll see how much I respect that don't buy houses on the busy street rule. It's on the busiest street ever, because the worst part is you can't even get out of there. But like, it's pretty wild. It's really busy. But I just sold one on Northern Parkway, super busy street. And, we ended up getting 235. I bought it for 70. I put 85 in and sold it for 235. They ended up making me like 50K on it. And like, on a busy street, don't buy something on a busy street. Sold like in 5 days with like 8 offers. So yeah, the busy streets are not optimal, but depending on the neighborhood, depending on what quality of renovation you can do, and like, people will live on busy streets. Someone lives on them currently, right? It's just figuring out what it's going to take to get them to move to the busy street. The reason people have judged like, don't buy on busy streets, don't buy condos, is because like things like that, people just don't properly adjust for those things. And if you properly adjust for them, then they're not that risky. But if you, in general, if you're not going to do a deep dive into like how to properly adjust, then they can be very risky. So
Right.
yeah, and that's why I think that gurus love to give random advice. It's very vague. Like that's pretty solid advice if you're not doing a great job. But if you're trying to be a high level flipper, I look at it like mold, roofs falling apart, foundation problems,
Right.
condo. I don't love condos where I'm at. Condos kind of suck where I'm at because they just sit longer. Nobody wants to own them here. I don't know why. I think condos would be way better in San Diego, just in general.
Oh
'Cause,
yeah.
You know,
Really
like
good.
if I lived in San Diego, I'd want to own a condo. I wouldn't, because a lot of people probably live there part time, and they don't want to have to deal with like cutting grass and everything. But here we got like super high condo fees, or like they're outrageous condo fees. Little condo I was looking to buy recently, it was like $200K, and the condo fees are $1,100 a month.
Seriously?
Yeah,
For what?
1,100.
What was?
You better have
I
pretty
mean,
thing.
they'll park my car. They're like, yeah, I'll park your car. They did have a sick gym overlooking the inner harbor. So like the gym was just amazing. That was awesome. It had a
Where were
indoor
you looking
pool.
at?
I
I
don't
used
know.
to live
Is it
at
Harbor Court?
Harborview Villas.
Harbor View. Yeah, exactly. We're not.
I used to live
it's
up
not. Is
here,
it Harbor
yeah.
View? Yeah.
Harborview
Yeah. So it's
Villas,
right
yeah.
by there.
Yeah.
What is the one that's right in the middle though? What's the one that's got the blue windows? On? Is that
Tower?
Harbor View?
Yeah,
Tower.
it's
That's
all
where it
the
was.
same thing. Yeah, I used to have a condo down there.
It's pretty nice, right? I mean, but
Beautiful.
yeah, but
It's gorgeous.
way too much money for those condo fees.
Yeah.
I might do it still. I don't know. I'm thinking it over.
I mean, you have Disquelli's right there. I mean, like the fireworks are like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's like
It's-
really quiet on that side. Like you're right off Key Highway, but since you're on the inner part on Harbor View, it's so quiet.
Yeah.
You never hear Key Highway traffic ever.
Yeah, it's amazing, and you can get to the tunnel really quickly. It's easy to get
2
everywhere.
seconds.
I
Harris
know,
Teeter's
it's
right there.
but that's $1,100 if you want that all those options. That was quite a bit. I thought $1,100. I mean, I kind of had my
Little
heart set on
Gucci.
it. Yeah, it's quite a bit. For like a 2-bedroom condo to pay $1,100 a month is nuts. And that is not. I don't think that's including your taxes either. So no, you got your taxes are on top of that,
Gosh,
which aren't cheap either. Probably like $5K a year. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna. Is the
Where-
reason
where-
I didn't buy.
get right.
Is it a certain percentage of per? How do they get to your guys' property taxes? Just curious. Is it
It's
a
like a
percentage
certain
of the-
percentage of value, assessed value. Yeah, it's like 2.5% or 2% of assessed value.
Okay.
It's like 1.1 in the counties, and it's 2% in the city. It's crazy. So
Wow.
like I almost got to buy a condo unit like 6 years ago in a building where Oprah lives. Right, she has a place in Baltimore, and so I could have live with Oprah, and I could have got it for $300K. The reason I didn't buy it is because, and this was like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, like 1,800 square foot, beautiful harbor view, and this was in the Ritz-Carlton, so it's a really good building.
Yeah, right.
It also only about like maybe $1,100-$1,200 condo fees. That was roughly the same. I don't even think they have as much stuff as Harborview though. It's nice. It's got a lot of nice stuff. But anyhow, I could have got it for $300K, and the taxes on it were $24,000 a year. That's the reason I didn't buy it. Now I knew I could fight the taxes, but it takes about a year to fight them and get them down. And even when I got them down, they're probably going to run around 11 grand a year or something. They weren't going to be like 5 grand or anything, because the building, the thing that I was buying for 300 had sold for 900. Now the reason I'm butthurt about it is because that unit now is about 950K, like 6 years later, and I'll now never be able to afford to live there. And I could have afforded to live there then. I was being a little cheap and short-sighted because I don't like to stretch on things. I don't like to stretch out financially, and I should have on that one because, I could be hanging with Oprah right now. I don't even like Oprah, but
I used to work at the Hyatt Regency, and she would come in and stay at the Hyatt all the time. She would have an alias name, but she literally would come in with no makeup and the big glasses, and all I could remember was her bags were just like huge.
oh wow,
It's amazing what makeup can do.
yeah, her name was.
Also, she was not nice at all. Like very snobby, not nice at all.
Wow.
See, I'm so glad I didn't buy that condo now.
Yeah.
I did not want to know. I didn't want to know Oprah wasn't nice. She's gonna probably be
impressed with Oprah.
I think Oprah's gonna be our first female president, probably. She could be.
Doubt it.
No, she's popular enough. She could be. I would vote for her over Hillary. Probably.
Yeah, I would vote for her over Hillary too.
Anyhow, All right, well, I'm getting ready. I don't get off on a tangent. So anyhow, so 2.0 on this, like there is always a way. The question is always just kind of getting around what our beliefs are and figuring out what is the 2.0 way. So obviously I love doing PPC, and I've seen PPCs like Michael Chow in Toronto. All he's doing is PPC right now. So like that's his thing. He's getting about 8 to 10 deals a year, and he's getting it from PPC. He's spending about $2,000 a month when it's all running right. So, you know, it's working for him. He's doing a little SEO also. So he's like working on that. I don't know if it's doing anything, but, and he was doing Kijiji ads. I don't really even know what that is, but I think he said that wasn't working. Kijiji ads are like Craigslist ads. So
Oh, in Canada. Yeah, Kijiji. Yeah.
Kijiji's
Yeah.
like, I think it's Kijiji. I always say it wrong, but I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was doing that, but mostly he's just focused on PPC now because that's all was really working. So we do find that it works well because, you know, you can 2.0 that also. And 2.0 in PPC, just to give you like the long history of, you start with dialing in PPC for about 4 to 6 months, really getting it right, getting it working, getting an understanding and a good feel for it. And then once you have about 6 months of data, we're going to put a pixel on it. And that pixel is going to be on your website. So every single person who ever comes to your website, which will be driven to your website from that ad, right? They're now going to have a pixel that's been attached to them. That pixel we can download into Facebook, and Facebook now we can retarget them in Facebook for really cheap, $200 a month. Now we can stalk the crap out of them. We can also retarget them on, you know, so what happens is we're going to go like get the PPC cranking, and then we're going to retarget on the PPC because you need a certain amount of people to retarget. So meaning like they come to your site, and then all of a sudden you're kind of like herpes, you don't go away. Like I was just interested in selling. I don't even know. Now they're in Facebook, they find you, they're on YouTube. They're like, what in the world? Like this guy is so popular. Like everyone knows him. Like it's like omnipresence, like you're just everywhere. So you retarget them, and then you're going to hit retarget them on Facebook. And then the third thing is you do the SEO. And the main reason we wait a little while on the SEO is because you just want to see over like maybe 6 months to a year what keywords are really crushing it. And because it's really hard to get SEO to work on like a bunch of keywords, but it is more simple to get it to work on say 5 to 10 keywords that you're just going to constantly put out SEO stuff related to those 5 to 10 keywords, which is going to start to just keep what we call, it's like omnipresence, right? I taught this by a guy named Frank Kern, who's actually from San Diego, fun enough. He's a internet marketer, but he talks about like you being everywhere. Right? Like that's when you're marketing at the highest level. So long term, if you can dial in the foundation of it, you can start to put the retargeting on one. And, you know, we do these each at one time, so it's not overwhelming, because to create all these at once would be like a 3-month project of you focusing on nothing else. And definitely would be like your eggs all in one basket kind of thing, right? We wouldn't want that. So, you know, spending $1,000 to $2,000 a month and just, you know, giving it some time and working on it, not spending like $5,000 a month. That gives you some breathing room to figure it out over time, get it right. And we start adding these other things. They take a little time to set up, but they don't cost a ton of money. Like it don't cost a lot to do Facebook retargeting or PPC retargeting. I think maybe a couple $100 a month between the two of them.
Yeah.
Because they're only going to go after the people who have actually, clicked on your site and who are warm.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, you do that. And then the last piece would be the SEO, and you get all those running together in unison can take 1 year to 18 months. But when they are, you now have PPC 2.0, which nobody's doing. Everyone's basically just paying Lead Propeller to giving them $5,000 a month. And then they're, you know, taking the gas off when it's not working as well as when they're paying $9,000 to get a deal, which is not uncommon. I was paying like, even here in Baltimore, you see how easily I'm getting deals. Okay, well, there's proof that PPC with Lead Propeller sucks, because why didn't they get me? My market, everyone says, oh, it's your market's good, Mike. My market's no better than anyone else's. Like my market sucks like everyone else's if you don't know what you're doing. It's the techniques that are working better. You think I didn't struggle for deals my whole life? Like I only started getting to the point where I was this abundant like 18 months ago when I realized I got to just take things to another level now because everyone's up their game. Like they stopped making it easy. So the first 7-8 years I was doing this, I could use all the old techniques and they all work still. They just stopped working about 3-4 years ago, and now everything has to be done better. right? We have to be able to cut our costs on our work. We got to be able to get done faster, and we can do all that. Then we can drive our costs down so we can offer more. And getting your agent's license on the back end so you can cut your costs there is going to be a winner, right? That's going to help you. It's easy. It's just another revenue stream. You get more control. It's going to allow you to get more money back. I mean, like 400K listing, like you naturally just put more money in your pocket. And then getting like one or two sources that you're really good at, like you are the master of. Right? PPC is the recommendation these days. I personally love it because now if you already have something else that's working, if you guys are listening, you're getting a little bit of FOMO, like, why don't we have PPC? Alex doing PPC because he's tried everything else. He's committed a couple months to MLS and he's tried it all and he's worked really hard. He did get a deal, but it's some heavy lifting to get it to work, right? He's busting his butt and it's not feeling all of that repeatable. So we need to get him he's going to continue doing that, but we want to get him some like secondary thing. Michael Chow did it in Toronto because same thing, like in these super, super intense markets, like it requires you doing something that's got a higher bar of entry, right? PPC is a very high bar of entry because it takes some super like talent to actually even just set a PPC account up. It's not even easy. Like I totally wouldn't even know where to start. That's why Tanya helps with it, because like someone trained us. I paid someone like 10 grand to train me on how to do it over like a 3-4 month period. And I still don't totally understand it, but I got enough. I did figure out what mattered, how to start it and make it work. That's all that matters. All right. I can be the dumbest dude ever, but if I can get it to convert, that's all that matters. I know exactly what I need to know, which is the moral of my whole life. Probably I would say is the common denominator of everything I do. I learn as much as I need to get results. And that's it. And then beyond that, I don't need to know anything else as long as I'm getting results. And then I'm getting better at PPC now, and I'm getting better with all the other channels and learning the strategies. But so for everyone who's in Baltimore, like the MLS is your move, right? MLS is going to have deals all day long. Wholesalers, all that's going to work really well if you drive your prices down. And we buy stuff all day long, so there's no reason to do PPC. The main reason I'm doing it now, I would cut it off, but I invested 10K, and then I figured out the whole PPC thing. Or I mean, I figured out the whole MLS thing like at a big level when my acquisitions guy left, and it forced me to kind of take it to that next level. So honestly, I would have canceled the PPC, but I had already paid the guy 10 grand, and I'm just like, I'm not wasting 10 grand. So that's why I'm still doing it. Now, the main reason that I decided to keep doing it is because I realized the intrinsic value to guys like Alec and, Jeff, who's in in Sacramento and then Toronto, like they needed something different. So I wanted to have something for the students who weren't local, who, have some, don't have a strong MLS they can crush. Right. So that's why I'm still doing it. I'm going to keep working it. And I'm sure it'll pay off long term for me to become really good at it. There's never going to be, a downside to it. Obviously, I can always use more deals.
Yeah.
But not these days, because now I'm getting chastised for having too many deals. It's like a little judgment was happening. Like mad at me. But I cut it off because of that, and I am cutting it back on in a couple of weeks. I'll probably get it back on. I was trying to get this guy with me, and I'm going to have him just take a look at what I'm doing and see if there's anything we can improve. That was all I was really focusing on. So, but I think what everyone can take from Alex's situation on the phone, that are on the call, would be just think of anything you're doing and think of like, how do I take it to that 2.0 level? So if you're flipping and you're doing the work, how do I get the work done cheaper, faster, and more affordably? There's never a time you can ask yourself that question and get an answer that would be like, do X, Y, Z. There'll never be a time where you're like, I'm already really good at it. That's fake. That's not real. Like I don't even allow myself to tell myself that. So if I literally, you guys might not even know this, I had to fire my bookkeeper recently, and I got a new person that's just redoing all my books. And so I don't even know like all my numbers from 19 because like my bookkeeper's been a mess. So I had to let her go. She's been, messing up my stuff. So with that being said, once I know my numbers, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to go in and dig through everything and see where things started to creep. Because I didn't have reports every week, I'm positive. I know for 100% fact that my project manager has started getting like letting things creep and being lazy. It's just human nature. It's not him being a bad person. He's got a lot of work on his plate, and there's never a time where it just isn't like, just pay somebody a little more money here, a little more money there. Oh, it's okay. Pay a little more money there. It's not a big deal. That all adds up, and it compounds into you spending an extra 5, 10K a flip and losing a competitive advantage, and your profits dwindling down. It requires me, like even at the level I'm at, 11 years in, well over 1,000 flips, I guarantee I will find inefficiencies and redundancies and things that I need to get rid of. So that's what I'm going to be doing in 2020 is I'm going to be taking that next level. And I probably need to do that every year to 18 months, every 2 years, tops. And that's why I never stop having things to teach and help with, because I can share with you what I'm discovering as I'm doing that. And all these things just become all these little tools to optimize. Right? It's all about optimization and making more of what we have. So like a great example for you, Alec, is that one deal. Like that one deal was like doing 3. Dude, you need more deals like that. I mean, that where you can just get the up. So like I'm saying that, and it sounds like you're like, duh, Mike, of course I need more deals like that. But I want you to like identify what was special about that deal, because I've had more deals like that than any year since I've been in flipping. And what I'll tell you is that what I found is there's certain deals that have more upside. There's certain deals that are in neighborhoods that have comps that say one thing, but all of a sudden, by the time the people get a hold of it, it gets blown up. So now what I'm realizing, maybe instead of doing like 40 deals a year, why don't I just do 20 and put a more intense focus on the deals that have better upside, that in the neighborhoods that tend to go way higher than I ever expected because they're just that high. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and that was exactly that deal. It was an up and coming part of the town where, especially, 3 or 4 blocks around the house, nothing had sold. No one was moving. It was just old school people staying through generations. And mine and a guy next door to me bought one, and a buddy who I know is a flipper 2 houses over bought the other one. And all of a sudden that neighborhood went from, buying in the 2s to low 3s to like the one next door to me is a little bigger than mine, a decent amount bigger. And he's got an offer now. He said, I talked to him at his Christmas party the other night. He's got an offer at like 475.
Yeah, but you're talking to the flippers, but here's the see, you're noticing this trend, this change, but guess what? The old people who live in the neighborhood, they're not going to know. So obviously, what would be smart for you is that's a small neighborhood to start just pounding it. Like, I don't know if you guys do banded signs, letters. It would be smart to just do a hyper focus on like, I'm going to crush that neighborhood. The reason why you want to crush a neighborhood like that is that most of the people selling, they're not going to be up to date on what's going on. They're going to be real happy to get the old number. And if you're sending a letter, you're doing a banded sign, you got PPC focused in on that neighborhood, you're calling agents, you're letting people know, hey, I love this neighborhood. Hey, Alex, the guy for that neighborhood, right? You can run that niche you would think that people would just instantly pick up on it, but I've seen times where it takes a year to 18 months for people to even figure out that there's been a change.
Sure.
I personally, in my own neighborhood I grew up in, every time something sells for $30K more than it should, I still sit there and like, oh, dude, that's crazy, man. That's totally not worth that. Until just recently, I did it for 6 months and I'm just like, well, of course it's worth. That's what it's selling for, but I'm just don't get it. I'm like, it is not that great of a neighborhood. Like, why are people paying so much? But it does fit a niche, obviously. And I've missed deals in that neighborhood due to that fact, by the way. I've literally missed deals because I'm just sitting there like, well, no one's going to pay that. And it wasn't until I did a couple deals and got 30, 40K over list in Brooklyn Park thinking like, oh, crap, okay, I got to stop underbidding, right? I'm underbidding right now because I'm not realizing what the market's willing to do and how crazy they are about these houses. I just thought, like, I sold a 1,000 square foot house for $265 in a neighborhood that's like, I don't know, man, the coolest thing going on is a Dunkin' Donuts. It's not like that great of a neighborhood. Dunkin' Donuts is pretty solid, but it's, that was a 210 house, by the way, like just 4 or 5 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. And we're not in San Diego. This neighborhood is like literally a mile from the city, and the city is the hood. That's where I grew up at, in the city side on Brooklyn Park. And it's legitimately the white ghetto, they call it. That's the name they have on judgmental maps. They call it the white ghetto, and it really is. It's like some legitimate, like 8 mile stuff going on around there. So it's bad there. But the thing is, when you start seeing those neighborhoods and you start seeing that, you get a window of a time that most people won't know what the heck's going on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it almost means we got to be cognizant of you having that much intel because you grew up there. It was almost what should have been an advantage kind of was a handicap for you because you're like, no, there's no way that's going on.
It's totally a handicap, because I'm like, why do people want to pay this? And I was definitely being handicapped. And in an area that I crushed for years, and it was definitely my advantage, that became my handicap. And what's really interesting? When I realized I was making that mistake about 2 months ago, I went and looked back, and I noticed I've only done 2 deals in Brooklyn Park in the last 13, 14 months. And that's not good. That's like, I'm usually like, I only live about maybe 10, 15 minutes from Brooklyn Park. So I love Brooklyn Park. I feel like that's one of my niche neighborhoods, but I hadn't been doing anything in the neighborhood because I was missing the fact that, I mean, it wasn't even that I grew up there. It's that I flipped to like 60 houses in the neighborhood, and I know what I've gotten for them. And now people are getting a lot more. Glen Burnie's the same thing. Another area Nikki's in. She sold a house for 230 that I've done 15 of those flips over the last 6 years, and I've never got more than 205 for it. And she got 230. She didn't count on it. She just made extra money. And then she was telling me the other day that another house just got 245. And I'm like, these are no basement, 900 square foot 3-1s. To get 245, this is not San Diego, so we're not talking about an area where
I got you.
Lily would pay 400 to live near the beach or somewhere nice and great weather, but like we're talking about some working class neighborhoods and outside the wire, right, in Baltimore, where we're yeah, that's just what's going on, honestly.
Are you talking about 21215?
Yes, Brooklyn Park. Yep. Brooklyn Park, city side, county side though is the differentiator. I'm talking about this county side. The city's still a dump and doesn't sell for anything. It literally is not worth one penny more than it was 10 years ago. It never goes up in value. It's like I've never seen anything like it. I bought 30 houses in that neighborhood, and 8 years later we sold them, and they were worth exactly what we bought them for. We bought them all in 2008, 9, and 10 when it was depressed, and we were buying them for $10K each. We were stealing them, and we literally and then putting like 25 in them to fix them up, and then renting them for like 900 to 1,000. And we sold them in 2016. And when you thought everything had doubled in value in that 8-9 years, and they were still worth exactly the same. Like we did not sell one single house for a penny more. And however, a mile over, things had went like the house that I sold for 265 would have sold for 200. So it's went up 65K in 8 years. And, my house, because of being in the city's rough, bad schools, bad taxes are double, and there's crime, prostitution, and drugs is rough. There's a lot going on in that neighborhood. It's just not any place you really want to live. Like if you don't have to. I always envision if I make some bad choices, I might be living there again, but probably not. So I'm just like, I'm pretty safe about what I do. But
I don't know. I feel like I would move in with my parents before anything if I moved there.
yeah. Well, my mom lives in Brooklyn Park, but she lives in a nice part. So I'm okay. She used to live in Brooklyn a couple years ago. And it was one of the cool things I was able to do is help her buy a house in the county. And she didn't even want to move because she's so used to living there. But when she did, she was like, I'm really glad I moved. She lives on a great street. We got her a house and then we fixed the basement up, and the basement lady pays the whole mortgage. So we bought a house for $50K, put 60 into it, and her mortgage is $750 a month, and she rents the basement for $800. And the house is worth like $270 right now. By the way, we bought that 7 years ago. That's how good a deal I got. It's just 110 into it. And it's worth $270.
That's great.
Like and she's like oblivious to that. She don't even know. Yeah, my mom don't even know what it's worth. Don't tell her. She might be trying to move away or something, cashing out, move away. She don't even know what it's my house too. So I kind of bought it with her, but like mostly so she wouldn't. And she was living in Brooklyn, and she's paying $700 a month to live in Brooklyn on 10th Street, on St. Victor, which is next to 10th. And it was like, they had stadium lighting on the street. So the street essentially never was dark. Like you go out like 12 o'clock at night and you could go sit in a beach chair like you're on the beach. It just looked like a sunny day in like your neighborhood, Alec, right? I mean, they had stadium lighting on the street that never allowed it to be dark, and they ran those lights. Yeah, dude, they just basically lit the whole street up with stadium lights.
So cool.
And my mom's like, oh, it's okay, I know they're all nice. And I'm like, Mom, you're way too nice. Like, these people are crazy. They're definitely worse than when I grew up there. It was bad when I grew up there, but it has gotten worse for sure, and it's not went anywhere good. But so yes, you're right. It's a disadvantage sometimes the real disadvantage was not that I knew the neighborhood. The real disadvantage was that I got set and I wasn't paying attention to change. Because see, everything changes, and it's important to see when things are going up in value, and it's also important to see when things start to go down in value for whatever reason. Right? If you start to see like a consistent routine of the economy slowing up, like as investors, we're usually first to know that. But if we're very narrow in our thinking, we won't be good about it, right? We'll just make mistakes. So, but when it goes up, there's an equal opportunity to lose opportunity there, right? Like you now know that neighborhood. So you know two things that most people don't know. You know that like that house you can easily get 420, 415, whatever. You know that's well over four when you originally thought it was like high threes, maybe 399. So now knowing that there's some value there, that helps you. Not everyone will be fully convinced just because you sold like one house, because a lot of investors don't like to look at like one comp or two comps. They like to see a lot of comps and a long history of it. So if they don't see like a long history of something, they tend to be conservative and just offer less. So that's good though, because you now know that consistently that neighborhood's getting that number. And what you probably know, and maybe you don't know, but you probably could know, is there's likely that number's going to get driven up. So like whatever was 420 today, 6 months to a year from now, could be 450 for the same house.
Yeah.
Could be
Sure.
easily, right? So it's going to get driven up due to the fact that people want to live there, and now it's hot and it's perceived as valuable, right? It's value. Like, oh, that's the value neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
When you told me what you sold it for, I thought like, oh, I could actually afford to live in San Diego, man. I should get a house there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Then I told you how big it was, right?
It's big
It's
enough
like
for me. I could live in that,
850.
dude. I'd live in 850. That's bigger than a hotel room. Got everything you needed, right? It was 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, and how far are we from the beach?
Not too far, really. I mean, really not. I mean, 10 minutes.
No, dude, that's all you need right there. That's the life.
Yeah. 10 minutes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm coming to LA actually next week.
Yeah. LA?
Yeah, LA. I got training. And Tanya's coming with me. We're going to Disneyland for a day.
Cool.
Fine.
It'll be fun. I've never been to Disneyland. I've been to Disney World, but we'll have some fun. Hopefully.
How'd you do in Vegas?
Gambling
Weren't
wise?
you in Vegas a couple? Huh?
Are you saying gambling wise?
Yeah.
I didn't never gambled. I didn't even gamble.
Oh, you know? No, okay.
Which is weird. I don't know if I ever went to Vegas and didn't gamble. I didn't have time. I was in a seminar all day by the time. And then I started, you know how it is. You're at a seminar of 4,000 real estate investors. Next thing you know, I'm getting dinner with everyone. And it just ended up being a thing. And so I was like, I didn't even have time to do anything but sleep and take notes and try to learn some stuff. No, I learned a couple things. I always do. It was pretty cool. Yeah. So I was only there for like 4 days. We went and seen 2 shows. We seen some, my first, Circus Delay or Cirque Delay shows. Yeah. I've never seen those before. It was pretty good.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Michael Jackson and Zoomanity, like a porno show, and then one was like a porno show, and one was like Michael Jackson. Like, kind of guess a porno show too, but it's kind of funny. So yeah, that's good stuff. We've got some good lessons today. Nancy, are you on? Is there any help you need with your wholesale deal or anything we can talk through before we hang up?
Hey, we're here. I just had to find my unmute button. I mean, what I'm doing is we're posting the second open house kind of ad in multiple places. I did follow your direction and go find sources like Facebook pages for real estate investing associations and Craigslist, and we actually got a couple calls from people who couldn't make the first one who want to come to the second one. So that's nice. And then we're also going to just invite our end buyer just as a backup, not put all our eggs in one basket, but just see if they may want to just buy it outright for a whole lot and, rehab it themselves, because the wife is an interior designer.
Totally. They might love that, and they might be able to make that work. And definitely get them in the game. Know that the reason I never focus on that too much is because a lot of times when people are trying to buy that are retail, think of how we make our money, right? We make our money by taking houses and making them completely turnkey, and people are willing to pay a premium for that. What I've noticed is when houses are in bad shape, guess who we're never competing against? I mean, I've never competed against a homeowner ever.
Yeah.
Because homeowners don't have the stomach for it, because they don't have the experience, they don't have the stomach for it. Now, you are in a nicer neighborhood, and if there ever was a neighborhood that a homeowner might consider doing that, tends to be in nicer neighborhoods like Pasadena and nice neighborhoods people want to live in. You also have a very unique house, which also might be enough to push them into saying this is a special, very unique home that we might never see again, right? So that you have potential, you have a shot, but for the most part, we don't tend to have that. You will see in Severna Park, you'll definitely get people that are knowledgeable enough and have enough cash to buy a house and fix it up. But the thing is, I've had where I've made some pretty good money when I've sold to people living in it, and they were end users, but they were cash.
Mhm.
They had to follow the same rules as the wholesale buyer, because see, if I was to sell it to them and give them contingencies on inspections or financing, then I could end up going all that time and then not keeping my promise to the person who matters, the seller. Because for me, I do everything I'm doing is running through the filter of, can I keep the promise I've made? Yeah, I
Right.
made a promise to the seller that I'd buy their house, or someone would buy it. I would get them the money at a certain time. And the one thing that definitely will always put that at huge risk would be selling to an end buyer. So I lean towards not doing it unless the end buyer can follow the same,
Ah,
terms of everyone else. And if they
that's
can, then
important.
fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Because they will tell you the problem, that what makes them really iffy is they will look you dead in the eye and be like, we love this home. We got every intention of buying it, and we have
Mhm.
the resources, and it's going to happen, Nancy. Let's high five and hug it out. We love you. Like, you're my best. I love you, Nancy, for selling this to me. And then 2 weeks later, be like, yeah, we changed our mind.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
you're like,
no, I
what the
put them in
F?
the same pot, yeah, as the investors, whoever, gives us the best offer.
Yeah, terms are huge though. So know
Yeah.
that terms are
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
money's big, but terms are a must essentially. We can't take bad terms, because
No.
I've learned this lesson the really hard way, where I've taken some really crappy terms, like even them giving me like a 5K deposit, but it's contingent upon on anything. And then they just eat my time up and don't settle. Like, most of the time they don't actually settle. Now, the thing about giving me a non-refundable or saying, hey, I'm cash and I'm not contingent, that usually will weed out whether if they are serious or not.
Right.
A wholesale deal, the fastest way for them to put up and actually put their money where their mouth is going to be to show you through like a non-refundable. So, because we've had, where I own an auction company, so I got a lot of experience with this, where I owned an auction company for about 7 years, and we did probably 400 auctions, and we sold houses just like what you would buy, public auction on
Mm-hmm.
courthouse
Mm-hmm.
steps. So people would come and bid, but we would commonly get on the houses that weren't too bad, like your house. We would constantly get people come in. They were homeowners, but what do you think we did? We would make them do a 10% deposit of the total bid, and it was non-refundable, which
Mm-hmm.
without anyone who wasn't serious. And every once in a while, we get some people to buy it and then come later and say, I don't know if I want to buy it. And then, and I'd be like, well, you have a $30,000 deposit. You're going to lose that if you don't buy it. They're like, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, because we don't want to lose
Right.
our 30K. Now, if they'd had a 5K or 10K, or, they had like a refundable, then they're just going to change their mind. They're just going to, decide not to do the business and leave us in a weird place. So we would make them follow the same terms, and it would help them. It would do two things. It would protect them against potentially, putting herself in a bad spot, but
Mhm.
and then it would also protect us and our seller too, because our sellers really, that's who we really owe. We have a commitment to as the seller. We've made a promise to them, so we want to make sure we deliver on it. So totally, you don't totally work it right. Make
Mhm.
sure there's nothing there, but like, don't ever, like you said, don't get too focused on one
No,
person.
no, no.
Get an abundance of people through, so that way we can find out. We need to stay open-minded who we might work with or might not. If you can get the MLS, what I will tell you is the MLS will crush.
That's what Jim's working on. Yeah, he's working on the MLS listing. He actually found the company that he listed with when he sold his house in Southern Maryland that was, reputable and decent, and I think $195
That's all they're
for
charging.
5 pictures. Yeah, yeah,
Sweet. That's all you need.
yeah.
Perfect.
So we'll do that and see who comes in. And in the ad, should I put a deadline for offers? I mean, should I make that kind of is that a better strategy?
You can, if you have a deadline. I mean, yeah, you certainly. I mean,
I
I
mean,
wouldn't say that's.
technically we don't, because
Yeah.
the daughter still hasn't put her dad's half of the house in an estate. She's going to do that. If you can believe this, talk about stringing us along. She's on vacation and said, "Ooh, I've got to talk to an attorney before I do that," and go down to the Register of Wills. So I did confirm with the Register of Wills that it's after they sell the house that they have to put the money into an account and place an ad for any. I guess,
Oh yeah. Okay,
yeah.
so once they do it, then you can just
Yeah.
expedite this.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You can do that in a day then, so that's not a big deal. You can go down and get it registered and all that, and get the
Yeah.
probate open. So maybe that's Maybe that's good they're being lazy because they're giving you time to find out.
That's what I figure.
Yeah,
Yes.
don't even push them. Yeah, take your time. I'm still looking for a buyer. Then
Yeah.
I'll rush you once I have one.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, okay, it makes sense. So yeah, if you go in then, so one of the big strategies is like when you get this, it's going to be a lot of agents calling you, and
Uh-huh.
you got to let them know like, hey, this is an assignment of contract. This is what's going on. Are your clients comfortable with that? And it is occupied, so we only have limited showings. We're going to have to do open houses, and you got to make sure you're talking to agents and treating them like retail. Not like wholesale, not retail, and letting them know like this is an investor deal. It's going to require your people to be like investors. What you'll do then is you'll weed out anyone who's like, there's people who will like try to show it and be like, try to show it to a buyer that's looking to spend $260K or $50K in Pasadena. And it's like, yeah, they'll like that house, even though it needs like all that work. And it's, a new agent don't have any common sense essentially. And then they'll get very like entitled to like, I need to show it. You need to let me see it. Or you just have to qualify them on the phone. Like, hey, is your buyer able? This is going to be, and you can put it in your listing. We do this. We'll put in there that this is going to be a cash or hard money only.
I did. That's what I was going to also ask you.
Yep,
Should I
and-
put in, we do not co-op with agents?
You do co-op with agents, so you do have
Do
to
we?
give them 2.5%. Yes. So just bump up your price. If you don't pay the agents, no one's coming. So you got to give the agents some
Okay.
money. The agents you're on your team, believe me, you want to pay them because they're going to get somebody to. They're the ones that are in the ear of the buyer, telling them to pay way more than they should.
Okay,
So
okay.
we never want to eliminate them off our team. So pay them 2.5%, which is fine. And then just if you're listing it for $239 to the Baltimore Investor Network,
Yeah,
just add $5K to it or something to cover. Maybe go to 244.9 on the MLS. Does that make sense?
okay. Yep, it
Bump
does.
it up a little so you can cover the commission you'll be
Just
paying.
put it different prices for, depending on who I'm sending it to.
Well, yes. I mean, because
Okay.
MLS is the only different price. Everything else is the
Right,
same.
right,
But, yeah, MLS is the only one that'll be different. And just to cover that additional cost of the realtor, you want the realtor to be on your team though, because
Okay, that makes sense. I just didn't know how to do both, but that makes perfect sense. You don't really have to.
yeah,
can
you just bump the price up, and then what you're going to put in is that it's a assignment of contract, and hard money or cash as is, right? Just let them know that. That's the
Mhm.
main things you want in there, and
Okay.
and then also that they'll be required to sign your paperwork if we come to an agreement on price that buyer would be required to use our title
Mhm.
company and use our paperwork. So they know that because they're going to want to use their title company, and their title company ain't going to know how to do this deal. They're not going to
Okay.
know how to make it work. You're going to need to use your title company, which I don't know who you work with, but if you've done any assignment deals or not, but use someone. I can refer you to someone if not, but
We have one.
yeah, you make sure they understand the process, and because they protect you against like people wondering what's going on. And
Right,
some
right.
companies that I had one company was like, Alec, I just need you to know that Nancy is making $40,000 on your house, and I need you to sign a paper saying you know that. And I'm like, all right, dude, you're fired, dude.
Yeah,
He's like, no, I could get in trouble if I don't disclose that to her. I'm like, you do. First of all, one has nothing to do with the other. Like,
Mhm.
you're getting ready to get punched in the face if you say it again. Like, I'm like, what?
Mhm.
I was like losing my mind in there, and they were like, so I'm like, I can't work with this guy anymore. He's like killing my deal. And he's supposed to be a great attorney, and I think he was really good at doing the work, but he was bad bedside manner. So good companies know how to like put people in different rooms and say what they legally
different times. Yeah.
say what they gotta legally say, but don't say anything to kill the deal or be stupid. So you got that covered. So yeah, just let them know then cash as is, hard money or hard money. It's an assignment deal, and that you would need to use your paperwork instead of your title company.
Okay.
You don't necessarily even have to say the title company, but just your paperwork, and it's an assignment deal. You can negotiate that when they come in with an offer. So I always like the terms or what I clear up with them once we have an agreement, because if they come in and even if they offer full price, I could be like, hey, I'm going into a multiple offer. I'm probably going to get more. You ask your client for highest and best, and hey, by the way, these are the terms that are going to make your offer stand out. Like, obviously we're going to talk about as is, using our title company, all that, and we can get them to do whatever we want from there.
Okay. That's good. That's great advice.
And get as much of a deposit. Like I said, in my last wholesale deal, I got a $50K deposit on a $65,000 house.
Yeah. Wow. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I had an offer for 67. I got 66 from him, and an offer for 67, who was trying to give me like $5K non-refundable. and I was making like 30K assignment fee. So I was like,
Yep.
yeah, I'll just take 1,000 less and go with him. Cause he was like, dude, I want the deal. What it's going to take. I can't pay him no more money. But he's like, I was like, well, can you give me all the money and as a deposit, like the
Mhm.
whole 66? He's like, I can't do 66, but I can do 50. Is that good? I was like, okay.
Yeah, that'll do.
I mean, just, I know you ain't going anywhere. Like, period. I know you're not going anywhere for sure. Like that was worth $1,000 to know that 100% my 30K is protected. See, because
Mhm.
my concern is the 30K, right? Actually, someone getting the settlement. Mike, my student in Toronto just wholesaled a deal, and he's making like 30K, but he got a 5K non-refundable. And as soon as he did it, he's like, "Shit, I feel like I didn't get enough deposit because like I'm really nervous that he ain't gonna settle and I'm just gonna get the 5K, but I don't want the 5K. I want the 30K.
Mhm.
Nobody
Mhm.
wants the 5K. We want the 30. And if he would have gotten 10 to 15, I can tell you conclusively 10 to 15, I don't think I've ever had anybody default.
No, I can't imagine.
Right around like say 3 to 5 people are still willing to give the money up. And at 1,000, you essentially don't even have a deal. So
Mhm.
somebody gives you like 1,000, you might just be talking like you don't even have a deal at 1,000.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like I would say anyone giving you 1,000 on a deal like that or 2,000 is
Yeah.
basically decide they're not settling. they're like 90% they're not going to settle.
Mhm.
So you've got everything going well. It sounds like you still have a little time, and you got the
We do.
ear. The person who like you're getting it out to the right people. The key now is getting more people to your open house and
Yep.
and getting more retail investors. So the only way to crack into the retail investor market is the MLS because that's when you're going to get the investor who's like just coming into the game, doesn't know anything, and doesn't really care if they make like 50K a house. They totally could make 20 and be happy, or they might rent it, they might live in it. They're just more like retail investor, and they're going to have an agent advising them. So when that agent's advising them, what comps you think they're going to tell them? You think they're telling them 410? No, they're telling them 490 probably. If my 450 to 490. How much you think telling the work is? Oh, you'd clean that up for 25,000. And they could, by the way, like totally. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you're doing a full rehab, but if someone just wanted to live in the house, they could easily get a streamlined 203K loan for 35K and work, clean it up, live in it, have a beautiful home for under 300,000, a couple thousand square feet in Pasadena. That would be a home run. And they totally could
Mhm.
make that very nice, livable home. They're not going to be able to do the full thing we wanted to do. We were trying to make it a
Mhm. Mhm.
standout showpiece, but so yeah, someone could totally do that, and that could be an option as long as they're so certain of their financing, they're willing to put their money where their mouth is, and we don't care.
Gotcha.
Wouldn't be bad to get a 15K, default, and then keep it and buy it yourself. That would not be awful either.
That wouldn't be bad.
I mean, I don't ever root for it, but it's if you are
It's
gonna,
livable. Yeah.
yeah, if you're gonna get a bad outcome, then like make sure it's not gonna be your bad outcome. It'll be theirs.
Mhm. Mhm. No, that's what we'll do.
Cool. Well, check back in with me. It sounds like
Oh,
you
I
got
will.
everything.
Yeah, we will. Once we have the open house, we'll bring everything to you.
Yeah, let me know when it is. I might come over and I'll be like, man, this is a great house, man. You guys are only asking 250?
Yeah, really. My goodness. It's
Holy
going to be
crap, this is a
Friday
steal.
from 3 to 5.
If I'm in the area, I'll stop by. That sounds all. I'll
Okay.
be like, what? That's only 250? This thing, man, this thing's worth 500,000. I'll just start
Perfect.
repeating myself like a record. I love doing that. That's fun. Oh yeah, man, you can fix all this for nothing. This is nothing, man. This is a little elbow grease, man. This is like you come in and put some sweat equity in, do it on the weekends.
Yeah, no, that we'd appreciate that.
Yeah, well, you can also get some friends to do that too if I can.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You just get some shills running around. It's someone's in there. Like the house has so much potential. If you guys seen it, like you would find this even funnier if you've seen the house. It's like a 20-some hundred square foot, like crazy, like custom house. It's really nuts, like how custom it is. It is the most unique home. I don't even know how to describe it. It's so odd, but it's actually pretty special too at some level because it's like a flat roof and it looks like almost like a villa in Greece or something. I've seen some when I was looking up the design of it. I actually seen stuff in Greece that looked like it, like a little Tony Stark house, but it's all brick and it's just crazy big and it's pretty awesome custom home, but very specific taste, but very cool home. Very, very cool. So someone's going to love it. Many people are going to hate it, but the people that love it are going to be the ones that are going to be like, that I got to have that. There's no other, I've never seen a house like it ever. So it totally is going to be really going to be awesome for someone.
We wanted
But-
to bring you some new challenges and new experiences.
Yeah.
So we,
Well, there's
Yeah.
nothing new there. I love doing houses. I mean, we were talking about, if you heard the discussion earlier about
Yeah.
finding your niche,
Yeah.
I would say another one of my niches not just been busy streets and hard rehabs, and it's been weird houses. I bought a house looked like Pizza Hut one time in Severna Park, and I've gotten all kind of weird houses in my days. And because there's a price a weird house to sell at, there's always some people.
oh yeah.
They sit a little longer. They don't sell as fast. They're not as easy to sell because you don't get as much, you're not hitting as many people who would like it. But often you'll get people who won't buy them. Like you won't have any competition on them. So you can pick them up pretty affordably and you can sell them for less money. And you can, again, it becomes a niche, like weird looking houses. There's also a lot of techniques, like a house Tanya was working on right now. I had a house I wholesaled on Ballsworth to Robert in the group with us, and it's really ugly on the front. It's a very ugly house, and she's sitting there messing with it, trying to figure out what he can do to make the front of the house not look so ugly. Because we could throw in a portico or throw in a trellis or something. There's always something you can do to really, like, for a couple $1,000 or $5,000 that makes the house not ugly anymore. And that becomes the opportunity. Obviously, it's not like I'm buying ugly houses and selling them still ugly. I'm usually like buying them ugly and then figuring out how to make them not ugly anymore, or at least to make them more bearable. They're never always going to be kind of ugly and unique, but they're never going to be like, if we can get a couple nice things, we'll make them more bearable and make them more like, oh, okay, it's kind of like the ugly duckling. I'm learning to appreciate it. I can see. So,
Every house has potential. You just have to get creative.
very true.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, good luck on that, and let me know how it's
Thank
going.
you.
It's awesome, and if you can hit the MLS, hopefully, Friday you should get some people. You'll have a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
days on the market, and
Yeah.
that should be awesome. So
Yeah, we're
all
going
right.
to do it this afternoon. We wanted to talk to you first.
Yep. All right. Was there any other questions, or it sounds like you have it all? Pretty good.
The only other question I have is the reason that we had initially involved the project manager and other investor in the offer to the retail buyer was the project manager is really just a really great 5-star contractor, and the investor was willing to put down the down payment so that he could keep him busy so he wouldn't have to go and get a job. Would you ever consider interviewing someone like him to work for you?
I mean, no, because I don't need anyone, because
Oh,
I already have a project manager. If I had a need, then yes, but
he's a great contractor as well in terms of just being very versatile.
I mean, yes, I would love to talk to him then, just to do work. And I probably have. Yeah, I'd love to talk to him in general, because even if I didn't need him, someone in the group would. But I would
Right,
also, for you'd want to try to keep your people.
Oh, we
Fine.
do. We definitely do. But he is like on the verge of having to get a job because his wife and kids are saying we need a regular paycheck. So we
So
were
is it just that he's not working, or does he do the work, or is he just trying to project manage?
He's been working with this specific investor as kind of his lead contractor / project manager. And the house that they're selling was just sitting and sitting and sitting, even though they had a comp right next door that was exactly what they listed theirs for. So they can't figure it out. But
I bet I could figure it out. Figure it out. It's always an answer. It's always kind of fun. If you send me the address, I'll take a look. I mean,
Okay.
I'm only just curious now, because it's rare that I can't dive in and figure out why, because there's always a reason.
Oh yeah.
It isn't time of year. People always love to use that, but I got my phone's blowing up right now with people trying to buy a house I just listed yesterday or the day before, and I got offers on it. And
It's a great time.
Ray and Hannah got, like, Christmas Eve, got a deal done. It don't matter. It's like, I almost think it might be an advantage because people are like kind of off this week and free.
Yes.
You definitely have more serious people. Yeah, there's serious people. Now your lower end buyers aren't out right now. So if you're in like a low end neighborhood, then that definitely you take a little hit in this time of year. But in a medium, like, working class to higher end neighborhood, you're fine. You're not gonna struggle at all. So if he does work, then the answer is I always can find work for him. Totally.
Well, I'll send you his phone number. His name is Jason, so I'll shoot you a text.
Cool. What does he do? Is just general carpentry, stuff like that?
He does it all. He can, lay tile. We had him finish Amphibian, which is right behind Peace Drive, and he did everything from installing a shower door that other contractors screwed up to doing things in the kitchen, installing cabinets, the microwave. I mean, and he can do, what else?
Where's he live at?
He lives up on the eastern side of Baltimore, kind of near the Perry Hall area.
Oh, okay. Well, I know who you could refer him to. It would be Christine starting a rehab right now, and that's exactly where they are. They're right in Middle River, so that'd be close to him. And I know Christine would love a referral, I'm sure, because she's getting ready to start her funnel.
I'll send him his number to you, and
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to vet him.
to her.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
She'll get the opportunity to vet him up because I'm going to help her do it. But
Okay.
she has an addition she's getting ready to do soon, like a little dormer. So it'd be perfect to find.
Oh, he's done one. He's
Yeah.
done one. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. He could be the perfect fit then.
And he's
obviously-
very conscientious and very affordable. I mean, he's just, he's fair. He wants to, be fair to his investors. It's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Right. No, that's good because that's really hard to
Uh-huh.
for the
Yeah.
referral.
Oh, hi, Christine.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, send them to me and I'll send them over to her. I'll talk to him really quickly. I do want to talk with him to make sure his pricing all sounds right and everything.
Okay.
And he understands what we're doing. And if
He's
he's
a great
good,
guy.
then I'll send him over.
Yeah. he's
If
really
not,
good.
if there's other guys like him we can find through the funnel. But we never pass up a layup if there's one. So it's just like, oh, here's a gift. I was like, okay, thank you. Right.
And it would be a gift to him too, because he does
Yes.
have kids and a wife.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. And he wants to stay busy. So that could be a perfect opportunity.
yeah. Okay, cool.
All right, awesome. Well, guys, thank you for everything, and good luck with your wholesale deal. And have a
Thank
great
you.
New Year's Eve. And I will
Yeah,
see everyone.
say
next
a
week.
prayer for us for sure, because we need a great buyer for that, and we have another interested buyer for our waterfront house that came back for a third showing with all their kids over the holidays. So
Picking the rooms, man. They're picking the rooms.
that's what we're thinking. So yeah.
Mm, That's
We're
awesome.
getting close. Yeah, it'll
Sounds
be a
like you are. They're at
huge home.
$599, right? It's
Yep.
at $599, so you should get it. It is a little bit of a slower time for 600K houses, but still, you should be good. You should get it done soon because I feel like that's a good price for that house. Now you
Yeah.
had like 20-some hundred square feet, right?
Yep. About 20.
Yeah. The only thing that sucked on your house was your neighbor, but other than that, your house, I remember it was beautiful inside, and like there was really nothing down on the house itself.
No, we've priced out a fence, so if push comes to shove, that's going up next.
I know neighbors are rough. I have a neighbor that's sabotaging the house now with me, and I got to figure out how to deal with it.
Gosh, they're just.
He's literally running into the house when the people are showing it and telling them how bad the house is.
I wouldn't put this past our neighbor, truly.
Yeah,
That's
I only
rough.
know because like an agent said, like my buyers were ready to buy, and this guy completely talked him out of it. And he's
Oh
like,
my
"What is wrong with your neighbor?" And I'm like, "I don't know what's wrong. I don't know him. I never did anything to him." And she said, "He said he was tried to buy the house, but you stole it from him." And I'm like, "Well, how did I steal it from him? I just paid more. He was offering 50K less. Like it wasn't even close. He was offering 50K less to me. These people were Indian. They weren't selling it for 50K less than this goofball. It was
Yeah.
like I'm gonna buy it for 50K less than it's worth. Like I think I stole it. And I paid 50K more. I don't know what he was thinking. But yeah, he's going there telling him I got water problems and this house was done on the shoddy work and I got permits and everything on this one. So I'm surprised. And it's like the first time I can actually back it up because most of the time I don't. I actually pull permits and like this thing's detailed out because it's an uppity white neighborhood in Roland Park. So it's not an area where I thought people were going to be overlooking any details.
Right.
So I've got everything's buttoned up really tight, and this guy's just like, so of course nobody's going to not want to hear that. He is basically saying the house is like Swiss cheese behind the walls. Like I just got a complete shithole, and I've hit all kind of bad stuff because I know it's him because 2 people asked me, "What are you going to do about the water problem?" And I'm like, "What water problem?" And they're like, "Yeah, we heard you have a water problem." And I'm like, "What do you heard? Like what is that? Like my house has a reputation or something? Like where'd you hear that at? How do you hear I have a water problem when I don't? Like it's fucking waterproof, you goofballs. You don't see the waterproofing?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how do you have a water? And we didn't even really have a water problem. We just waterproofed it because it was a 400K house. But, we just did it because it don't really cost us that much, like $3,000. We just figured do it because I knew these people would want everything. So that's why I hate doing houses with freaking people.
What's the address? Because I used to work in Roland Park. I love that neighborhood.
It's 24 Colorado.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Did you have to do any historical preservation?
I didn't know, not on this one. It
Oh,
didn't
good
have
for you.
anything. It was a little bit newer home, but it built not in like the 30s or anything. It's like the 50s or 60s. But
Mhm.
it's a beautiful house. You know, it's got everything it needs. It's priced really well for the neighborhood. It's about a block and a half from Starbucks and Eddie's.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
Eddie's and Roland Park. So it's and if you go through the woods, it's got the Roland Park Swim Club is there, and Guilford's right there. You know, the big expensive
I
school.
do.
It's a really nice neighborhood, but I don't do well with uppity white people who are snobby.
And a lot of them are there. Trust. Oh, gosh.
I
Yeah.
know they are. I would never live there. I'd end up like fighting someone. I think they're just all weird and they're just very snobby. Honestly, they're
They
very
are.
snobby.
They
run
are.
through and they judge your house, and I don't know, man. I feel like I love selling to first-time home buyers, and they're just like, "Thank you, this is the best house we've ever had." And you get there, and there's like, "Oh, it doesn't have a, it had a frog in the backyard." And like I did when I sold in Towson was a neighborhood like this, and I literally sat on the market for 60 days because people were like, it didn't landscape the hill to the natural Maryland flowers, which was affecting the frog community. 6 people told me that, and I told all of them to F themselves. And then after the 6th person, I'm like, okay, what am I missing? So of course I go research it and find out like it's a big thing in that neighborhood, and I'm being disrespectful of the frogs, and I'm like the talk of the town because I'm essentially disrespecting frogs with my shit. And I'm like, I have no clue what we're even. I'm still having a hard time explaining it. It was so stupid, right? In my head, at least, because I'm thinking like, well, I don't care about no. What are you talking about, frogs? Like,
And they couldn't fix it? They couldn't buy a few flowers and,
no, they wanted me to do it, and they were mad
Oh.
that I was being. So I had to like drop the price and then go put like special flowers on the hill and a little trap for the frogs to like lay in and sunbathe. And I was like, this is like, I mean, it still seems like an insane conversation, right? And it's just like this is a kind of an insane conversation to have. Like that's why, like people think that it's cool to rehab like in high end neighborhoods. It's not. It's unpredictable. You got to be tied into what's going on. You
Yeah.
got to, you got to like rehab your house to the Me Too movement. Like you got to know, like, I don't even know what the Me Too movement is. I'm just using that as an example. I don't even clearly know what it is other than like Harvey Weinstein pulled his penis out or something. That's all I know. Like, but you got to know that stuff in order to rehab in high end communities. Cause like if you don't have something that's sensitive to that, they're going to be like, oh, F you, we're not buying your house. So yeah. I don't want to have to know all that stuff. I don't want to have to go get TV and watch the news. I kind of like being on Netflix only and being unaware. I just think we live in the greatest country ever because I don't really know any of the bad stuff going on. All right, this is a great country. I make money. I'm really happy. Life's awesome, right? I don't need to watch news talking about the ozone's falling out and stuff. Some lady told me at a seminar that we got 5 years for the world collapse. And she looked me in the face. She was serious. She said, if you knew like we legitimately got 5 years due to global warming before tsunamis take over and destroy the world. And she's like, I know. She's like, when I found it out, I went into a depression for 6 months. And I'm like, well, if that's really happening, I don't actually want. I just want to assume you're crazy and not even know. And I told her that right to her face. I'm like, you might be right, but
it takes all kinds.
I'll be the only one getting washed away by the tsunami. Like, damn, I wish I'd have watched the news. And totally cool with it. I'm like, totally cool. I'll live my life for the next 5 years, and then I'll just be completely.
We'll float away with you.
I mean, I just thought it sounded crazy, but she looked really serious. She talked me to death for like an hour about this shit, and I was like,
There's crazy people in this world. Lots of them.
She was from another country too, and she told me also how bad our country is, how we're the worst country ever. And I'm like, that's kind of
But
not
yet
true.
she
But
came here.
yeah, we're not the worst country ever for sure. We're a great
No.
country, and she's just talking about how bad our country was. And, like America is known for gun violence, and she's like, your gun violence is out of hand, and you guys are awful, and you're homeless people. We can't believe how you treat your homeless people. And I'm like I don't know. I've seen the homeless people in Alex's neighborhood, and like they're living better than me right now, like sunbathing on the beach. Like I think it's like a desirable place to be homeless, America. Like, you're almost not even homeless by, it's only by choice anymore. Like legitimately, like most homeless people have psychological problems, and like there's options for people that don't want to be homeless. Like we don't leave anyone to hang, right? We have a lot of options for people and to help everyone.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm just looking at her like, I'm just trying to eat, man. Like, don't try to suck me into this crap. I had a lady attack me when we were on the Costa Rica trip. Another lady from freaking Britain. I'm like, I must be a target, man. And then she just looks at me and says, hi, my name's whatever. And like, what do you think about Trump? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, she's like, well, I really want to get your opinion. And I'm like, I don't really have an opinion. And she's like, well, like, so she just kept nabbing at me. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm okay with them. I don't know, but I don't really care. I don't think either side's awesome. So you don't believe in this? And next thing you know, like a whole thing. Like, I don't believe in whatever psycho stuff you're talking about. Ray and Hannah were laughing. They're in the back just laughing. They thought it was hilarious. The lady, she sits next to me on a thing coming back from a cruise we did. Like we went to this island. And so I'm squeezed between her crazy butt. And she's like just talking my ear out for like a 30-minute ride about Trump and how awful he is. And like, you know, how I should assassinate him or something. I don't know. I'm like, I just don't care. I just don't really care. I don't care about Trump, Obama, Hillary. I don't care about any of them. I didn't see any of them come to my birthday party. Like, you know what I mean? They don't see any of them send me a check or you know, none of them like liked any of my pages. Like, why do I care? No, they're not part of the coaching program. I'm only, you know, I care about certain people and that's it. And it ain't any of them. Or you psycho that's sitting next to me. She was a complete fruitcake. She was dating a dude. She's like 60, dating a dude who's like 27. And she was sending him away because he was living with her in Costa Rica. And she was like sending him away and he was crying. And I was like, oh, it was just a whole weird thing. It was the whole thing. She's like, oh, he's my friend. And she apparently, come to find out, she has these young guys come live with her for like a couple months and then sends them on their way.
Oh, sugar mama.
Well, I was like, she's kind of got that going on for her. I was like, that's kind of funny. I thought that was really actually interesting. I didn't like her political views, but I thought that was hilarious. He's a good-looking dude, too, man. He was like all buff. I was like, hey, she's killing it. Except for the fact that he was crying over being kicked out by a 65-year-old woman. I'm like, you could totally get another 65-year-old woman. I'm sure, dude. You'll be fine. Like, there's plenty of those out there when you're like 27 and you apparently like women 45 years older than you.
He might have to go work.
I don't. That's probably what it was. He probably had to get a job.
Right.
Yeah, that was probably what was going on. He didn't want to have to get a job.
I don't want to work.
What a weirdo.
Oh, it was funny. I mean, we were all Nikki. Everyone was on the bus, and we were just like, it was our big funny thing we talked about for like 2 days because there was like that lady was on you, and I was like, dude, I just want to get off the bus. Like, just leave me alone. Because I don't mind arguing about things I know about, but I don't really know a lot about politics. I didn't really want to argue about that other than the economy's been amazing with Trump. She did say she said something that was pretty insane. She did say this, and that was the only time she got me talking, is she's like, I'm like, the economy, all I know is the economy is really good, and I don't really care how it happened, but like Trump saying it's good, I don't want him to leave because likely it could change. And she's like, so you think Trump actually had something to do with this? She says, you don't believe this was the tsunami of Obama that made all this happen? That Trump is riding off Obama's work? I'm like, well, I'm not saying that because I like Obama. I think he's pretty, like, I like listening to him. He's a pretty intelligent guy and smart guy. And, you know, he's got some stuff he didn't do right. And I'm sure there's some stuff that Trump doesn't do right. But overall, no, I think either the person who's the president is getting the credit for what's going on, just like things are pretty good when Obama was here for the second term. I mean, things got better and I'm okay. I don't mind giving him credit for that, but I can't, how are we going to steal it from Trump? Like, can't give him no credit now. Like, it's just common sense that the market would be good. The guy's good with money. Right? He might not be good with like saying the right things or, you know, letting like immigrants across the, you know, like some of my workers can't get back because of him. And that sucks because they're like my family and I can't get them back on the side of the country because he's like, Trump's got them locked down with like the CIA is like flying drones over them. And like, so, you know, they're like literally one of my guys is in federal prison right now trying to get out.
What?
Yeah, dude, he got like picked up like about 3 months ago and basically he's in federal prison and my rehab's running like clockwork. The guy calls from prison every day to his wife and she takes all the notes and like, dude, they're just knocking the flip out. Like no problem. Like he never left. Cause he ain't got nothing to do all day. He's in prison just planning out the rehab and like shit's organized more than it's ever been because he has nothing to do all day. So he's just literally just getting the shit to her and he's now got a tablet somehow. So he's like ordering stuff for Home Depot for me from prison. He can't get out. The reason he went to prison is they deported him first and then he like got 10 grand and got a coyote. He got into Texas and they got him a second time. So they now got him holding in prison because like he got over and got caught a second time within like a month. So he's in a little bit of shit, but everything's still going well. And obviously, you know, he's like, please don't fire me because his whole family is eating. And, you know, he's just such a great guy. And hard worker, and he supports his family here, his family in Honduras, and in multiple families. Just a great person. So I don't love that. I understand why Trump's doing it, but at the same time, I mean, I wish there was a way to find out, like, to get the criminals back and then keep the awesome people.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there is, right? It's always hard to figure that out.
Mhm.
Because I know there's so many hardworking people. People are so weird about Spanish people, but I'm like, dude, their Spanish people are awesome.
Hard
Yeah.
work.
We need to be more like them, right? We need to find ways
Mhm.
to be more like them, honestly, because they have such great family values. They have work ethic. Is like, I think that we're missing is like I don't know. I hire white people and they're just like totally lazy and like
Mhm.
titled, lazy. They don't want to do anything. And these guys come in, they're supporting two families and with a smile and happy to do it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that there needs to be more of that in this world, So, and I don't care if it's Spanish, black, white. Who cares, right? I don't really care,
Right.
honestly. I just think that and there's plenty of white people who think that way, and black people, it's all the same. But Spanish people as a whole seem to be more like, I guess, because they are family based. They're more like, I'm going to work because I have a bigger purpose to work. I'm not just like working to make money. Because I don't think that supports you forever when it's just for money, right? But when it's for your family, your kids, and there's a bigger purpose, it
Mhm.
gives you the motivation to show up every morning and work hard, and and come from a good place and have a positive
Mhm.
attitude.
Yeah.
Anyhow, yeah. So
I
I'm
work closely with them, and they value family more than I mean, and I'm Italian, and we're just an unruly group too. But like when they cook, it's just like pots are just this big, multiple, and they're just so grateful, and they're simple. Like they
yeah
use everything, and it's so funny because like they all live together, and their mortgage is nothing, and they just have abundance, and they just
yeah they're not broke.
love the way they live. Like they're so
No.
smart. I mean, they can all work at their different times because everybody's helping with the kids.
Yep.
I mean, the last party we went to, it sucks because I don't understand it, but I get emotional because I can feel it. You can just feel like the love there, and they're hardworking people.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they really are.
People.
We had to do an eviction, and then I got probably like 23 people that came to do this eviction in PG County, and because you got to have 21 people show up to do an eviction, or they won't. The sheriff will leave. Some weird rule they have in PG County. And I looked, and it was like 5 white people, and all the rest were Spanish. And I realized, like, there was a time when there was only 5 Spanish people, and all the rest were white. And
Mhm.
probably 6 years ago, and now it's actually made a huge shift. And the white people are people that work with me forever. Like, they're legitimately people who've been with me for 20 years. They were in my old company before I came here when I did flooring, and they worked for me then. So
Wow.
they're really the only people that are white are like family, right? That the rest is essentially just Spanish.
My friend's a nurse at GBMC, and they said that there was more Black and Hispanic babies born than white babies. And
Really?
Yep.
No, I wouldn't expect that.
There's like white people are not having as many babies as Black and Spanish are.
I don't know. So they're like, oh, they're going to take over. Like, okay, what's that mean? That's stupid. I mean,
You
I
better
don't
learn
know.
Spanish. I don't know.
Yeah, I should learn Spanish anyhow. I don't know what I'm holding off on.
Micah, he can translate through everyone for me.
I know it's good to know Spanish as a flipper because, like, yeah, it's probably going to be a thing.
I mean, that's how we get a lot of our work done so inexpensively because they're
Mhm.
willing to work, and we tell them because they don't know. If you just tell, it's like if you tell them, they're like, okay, they're just grateful for the work. But
Mhm.
some of them are starting to get smarter as I.
Well, they're getting more Americanized, right? They're getting
Yeah.
more. They're getting more of our bad habits, essentially.
Yeah, true. Yes,
They're
they are getting
definitely.
good
Yeah.
habits.
I don't know. I mean, that's a good thing to keep is like that core value, and honestly, a lot of people in America will have to come back to that, or they're going to find it's not a happy life to live when you're running around. I'm trying to scale down my life right now, so I'm selling my waterfront. I'm getting rid of my cars. I'm trying to just get really simple. Also, in case Trump doesn't get reelected, I kind of want to have some cash in the bank. But and I don't really need a waterfront home that I come stay at it 1 day or 2 day a weeks. I literally come and stay there 1 to 2 days a week. And I'm at Tanya's the rest of the time, and so I'm not doing that. I just don't need to spend all the money. My mission in the next 10 years is to save so much, just save all my cash, and just stop spending, stop consuming. And get more into like traveling experiences, spending time with family. They're the things that are really valuable. They're things you remember. Like every nice car I've bought, I couldn't care less about 2 months after I bought it.
Yeah.
had to have it, right? Had to like make bad financial choices to have it. 2 months later, I'm like, who cares? So then they're like, oh, cool, let me do that again. Like 2 years later, I buy another one. So I'm buying a Honda Civic now, and that's it.
What more do you need? I mean, truly.
Well, it'll never conk out. I know that. I did research and found out it's the most reliable car in the world, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they kind of look cool. I think they look pretty cool anyhow, the new ones. And yeah,
Yeah.
they'll go 200, 300,000 miles. A Honda Civic is like 300,000 miles they get.
I used to have one. They get the best gas mileage. Like I never ever.
You know,
It
like
was-
$250 a month, I can own one. I'm like, that's sweet.
Yep.
And they're really nice. They have like the side cameras now, pop up on the screen when you make like a right or left hand
Yeah.
turn, all that thing.
I'm gonna put something like, I'm gonna make people think I'm like a little bit of like a, you know, somebody would drive a Honda Civic. Like I'm gonna put like coexist on it or something. Like totally mess with people. They'll be like, oh, he's one of us. Like he's a vegan. I'm not. I'll be like, oh, hey, what's up, man? I'm just like completely throw people off riding around my Honda Civic. I think I like just graduated college or something. It's like I'm broke. Can I borrow $20, man? They're like, oh, you know the struggle, Mike. I see you have a Honda Civic. Coexist, man. I was like, yeah, I know the struggle. I don't know the struggle. I haven't been in the struggle in quite a long time. Once you get good at something, you're not really in struggle anymore. Things get easier. They really do. It's the struggle is just staying good at it and like, you know, making, you know, constantly staying in the grind. But, you know, I've not had to worry about paying bills for a long time. That's the struggle. Like, how are we going to pay our bills next week? That's one thing. You get out of that quickly when you just start making, you know, you start making a big difference between what you make and what you spend. And that's what I've been working on now. I have someone who's going to be doing a deep dive through all my books and really auditing my spending habits and everything I'm doing to help me kind of get real tight on what I spend money on, what I don't spend money on, my rehabs, everything. And with the amount of like money that goes in and out of my accounts, there's probably some really big opportunity to shave and like squirrel away. Like, oh, okay, that went to nothing. I might be able to save 20, 30K a year just in like subscriptions I don't cancel. Holy shit, there's stuff in there I don't even know where it came from. Like, just matter of fact, I just let myself think of like I have $197 coming out of my bank account for something. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Sure, I signed up for it, but I got to cancel because I'm not using it since I don't know what it is. So anyhow, I think that's we talked a lot about that, but keeping the life simple is always good. And I know most of the people in the program are kind of very simple that way. I did have a student a long time ago, and that was kind of my first advice I gave to him because he lived in a $900,000 house and had like 2 really fancy vehicles. And I was like, dude, you might want to stay doing what you're doing because like, you know, flipping is not instant rich. Right? It takes a little reinvesting in yourself, your business, being able to invest in things until you can get that consistent flow of money coming in. And it does, you know, you have to invest in strategies, sessions, I mean, like systems and building out, right? You can't be scabbing the business away and saying, okay, I made 200K, but I took all 200K and went to Disney World for one day because that's all you get for 200K.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm cutting Disney World out, by the way. I think that's another good one. Because she's a big fan of Disney World, but I feel like every time I go there, I get robbed. It's like a little character comes around in a ski mask and robs me.
Mm-hmm.
Better have kids.
Yeah, I've had kids.
Years?
No, no kids for that. We are going to Disneyland and with Tanya's kids, so that'll be fun for a day. But you know what really gets you is all the hotels and everything. It's like all the, you know, it's like $300-400 a night for the hotel. And
Well, depending upon what level. I was a travel agent like 10 years ago. And if you buy a Disney package, you can get like a couple of nights in a hotel, and then you also get like a meal. And actually save money by doing that because
you do?
you're from overspending on other things.
Yeah.
Only allotted a certain. No, this is all that we had to get, like a snack and like.
Tanya would be happy to hear you say that. Don't tell her that in front of me. She's been fighting that battle with me, and I've been forensically breaking it down, and I've proven that it's not cheaper to buy a meal plan. It really depends on your eating behaviors. Only it depends on your eating. I like to split meals, and I don't like to eat, like if you eat a meal plan, you're going to eat like 3,000-4,000 calories a day. Like,
No, but there's different levels of meal plans. You don't have to get like, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can just get like a snack or lunch in the park.
but so if you know my behavior pattern that I'm very, I just do what I want, and I'm like, so I won't, like, you got to strategically, use the points correctly, right? Or it'll get all weird. And if you just go outside the points, next thing you know, like the outcome is not much cheaper. So, I mean, I don't know. It depends on the person. So
Yeah, I
she's
guess.
been fighting the battle for a while, and I'm like, so I hear what she's saying, obviously. So here's the way I know it's not cheaper, just from common sense.
Okay.
Disney wouldn't be doing it if it was cheaper. They are not known for making anything cheaper. They're known for making profits, right? Like, oh, the vacation club, it's cheaper. Well, if it was cheaper, they wouldn't be doing it. Like, you think they don't make timeshares or like $1 billion industry?
They do it as a whole, and that way it is cheaper.
No, it's a sucker play. You realize, like, when you ever know how they fill the gas up and it's cheaper, right? I broke that down, and that's a myth. It's not cheaper. They
Why?
give it because you never. How many times are you going to come cruising in, like on that last like little ounce of gas? You just come in and it runs out of gas. That's the only time it would be cheaper. No, you're going to come back with a quarter tank, maybe even a half tank, because you don't want to run out of gas. And now it's
Right.
not cheaper because you just came back and gave them all the gas that you paid for. You saved 80 cents, but they know historically they're geniuses. They can look and say, oh, historically, this is the math. They last 7,000 rentals we did, people come back with this much gas. We'll tell them we're giving it cheaper, but in reality, we'll get this much gas back and we'll make more money. They wouldn't do it if it didn't actually make them money. And they're very smart. I mean, so anytime there's somebody sitting up there doing some really big thinking, smart thinking on like, oh, we'll tell them we're giving them gas so they don't have to stop by the gas station. But then they'll just give us a half tank back, like quite commonly, by the way. I mean, who wouldn't, right? Because I'm not running that thing down to E and like conking out a block away and have to push the
Right.
car in. Like,
Right.
I mean, no one would do that. I mean, I probably would because I'm sick, and that's why I don't want to do that, because I don't want to be the guy like riding around the block trying to run the gas out for an hour, trying to get my value and then like make my life all weird. Because I would probably do some stuff like that, and it's because I'd want to win. It's a competition, but they're smart when they started running the numbers. I'm like, so this is if you pay attention to what big business does, they have some really smart people thinking about this, and don't think Disney's any different. Disney's highly profitable. Everything they do is about optimizing money. Now, the reason I don't care is Disney's experience is amazing, and they just a great place. It is truly one of the greatest places on earth. And so, yes, you get some maximized, like they efficiently get money from you, like, because that's their dream and mission, and that's just what they do. There's too many smart people that, like, there's people that are not sleeping right now because they're dreaming about how to get me to spend more money at Disney. So when they create a meal plan, it's in my best interest. I'm thinking like, oh, there's probably like 25,000 man hours put into a strategy of a meal plan strategy of how to get me to think I'm spending less when I'm not. And I'm positive that's happening, because if not, Disney would be missing out, because people are spending money or not
I
coming
mean,
there.
when you word it like that, then I'm like, okay, well, that makes a ton of sense.
Well, it's got to be true, but however, I don't want to spend a couple hours trying to debunk it, right? Either, because then
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's contextual, right? This is like we always run through context. If there's a context of it, is that like Disney totally smart, and they timeshares, right? They tell you that's a great deal, but timeshares are not great deals. But everyone that has a timeshare tells me it's a great deal, and everyone that doesn't have one says it's a dumb play. But because they own it, they get them to buy in how much they're saving, just mean they got sold on it. So just like when someone actually is a purchaser of the meal plans, well, they're usually going to defend them. They're going to be like, oh my God, they're so good. And they could be. If you eat a lot, they're good. Like if you're like 50 pounds, 100 pounds overweight, you're going to like eat like every meal and you're going to like bang it out, then you probably should get the whole thing. I'm trying to like, if I eat that much, I won't be able to move. And if I pay for it, I'm going to eat it. Now, next thing you know, I'm like in a coma sitting in a 2-hour line thinking this is the worst place I've ever been. It's like, that's what I feel like if I get a meal plan. So like, I'm just thinking like, yeah, it ain't the best deal for me, because me and Tanya could split a meal.
Yeah.
Split a meal, eat lighter and have a snack or something, and stay lighter on our feet so we can actually handle the 19-mile walk from the bus to the front gate. Like, it's just, so that's what I'm thinking. And she's still convincing me and all my family, but I'm like, I'm running the math, and when they run the math, it don't add up. Like, and I just don't want to argue with people because I'm just like, there's no reason to argue about it. But I'm like, no, you can just simply break the math down. It doesn't make any sense. They're like, no, it's cheaper. And I'm like, well, tell me why it's cheaper. Like, break it down for me. No, it's just cheaper. Like, well, go ahead and break it down for me. And like, bring out a deal analyzer and show me. Like, run it through the deal analyzer, and I want to see the meal plan go through the deal analyzer that you've created. If someone pulls a spreadsheet out on me and proves it, I'm going to give in and I'll change my belief. But they haven't done it yet, everybody. And funny enough, they won't even run the basic math. They won't even run the basic math when I ask them. They'll just be like, oh, it is. And I don't believe in anything that
They
just.
probably don't know the basic math. That's why.
Well, of course, because no one's telling you the basic math. They're just giving you some weird shit that convinces you that somehow psychologically
No,
you're
they
going to
break
be
it down.
cheaper.
They break it down.
I've had people break it down some, but then I'm like, that don't
A
add up.
travel agent should break it down. A travel agent
I
should
imagine they would.
break it down.
Yeah.
Know how much the cost for flight is, because when you build a Disney package, you can put flight in, you can put your tickets in, you can not have flight, you might need transfer, you might not need transfers. So you build it as a package. So the breakdown is there if you have a good travel agent.
Yeah.
And
That makes sense.
LA actually has a really good relationship with Walt Disney World. I know they do like special packages and they do like extra special stuff, but you do pay membership. So
Oh, AAA, you said. Yeah, I've heard
Yeah.
AAA does have good stuff, actually.
yeah, I worked for them. I actually used to do Disney cruises and
Mhm.
Disney packages all the time.
How much does a Disney cruise cost?
Well,
Roughly.
it depends on 3, 4. You doing a 3 or 4 day cruise, or you doing a 7, 8?
It's like 7-day cruise. It's like,
Yeah. So it can be up around $5,000, maybe a little bit more.
a person for each person?
No, I think
So
for
it's a
2
couple?
people.
So
A
like
couple.
2,500 a person?
Yeah. And honestly, you go to Castaway Bay and it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Everything's top of the line.
I've
I'm-
heard that, but so yeah, and then you get other ones are like 1,000. You're paying 2,500 for that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like Carnival Cruise Lines is probably where
Yeah.
like young, 21-year-olds are going on, like, or
Yeah.
whatever. And then Royal Caribbean's a nice cruise line, but it just depends. Like Royal Caribbean, their cruise lines had over the last 10 years. I cannot believe how far along the cruise ships have come
They're nicer, you're saying?
on them. Yeah,
Oh,
Like-
okay.
they have golf on there now. Like the big slides are on now. Like it's climbing walls. So, and it depends on what ship you go on and and what port you go out of. Because certain ports.
That's her dream to go on a Disney cruise, and I'm just like fighting it because
They're amazing.
yeah, I've heard they're awesome.
Spend some day on land, so you're not on the cruise ship.
Yeah.
And I did it for 3 night, 4 days, and it was so fun. And I was like 19 years old. I did it for college because I went to school
Oh,
for travel and tourism and hospitality. So that's
Cool.
why I did it. But if your kids are older, a fun place in Orlando is the Hard Rock Hotel and
oh really?
Studios. And there's like a water taxi that's included. But
Mhm.
sit at the Hard Rock Hotel, like underwater, you can hear the music playing. It's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Beautiful hotel.
We'll have to check it out. We're going in, I think like March for Podfest. We're gonna be in Orlando.
Oh, that'd be a good time to go.
I told her we're gonna go Universal Studios. That's where we're going now because we had a Disney year membership, so we went like 3 times in a year. And I'm like, I'm pretty Disneyed out. I don't need any more Disney.
Universal Studios is awesome. That's if I had to pick right now to take my boys and they're 6 and 8, I would pick Universal Studios.
I like that you can get the fast line pass where you can actually cut in front of everyone. In Disney, is like you gotta like book them and stuff. It's kind of complicated, but I can
Yeah.
just pay for it. I want to be paid for it.
And you just wear the wristband, you just bypass it. And everyone doesn't like paying extra, but you get to ride so many more rides.
Mm.
And you would know.
Yeah.
So you're getting your money's worth out of it. And it's like
Oh, yep.
extra $25 and be able to ride all the rides, or just pay $125 and only be able to ride 25% of the rides. So it's like for $25
Yeah.
a time, you know.
It's totally worth it. And Disney don't offer anything like that. They have like a what you can do.
Fast pass in Disney.
They don't have a no fast pass anymore. They've got it now where you can book them fast pass, but you can only book 3 is their new thing. So you can just book 3 in a day, and you got to book them like a long time out in order to get anything worthwhile. Like
It's-
A Bug's Life is available if you book it like a week before, but like not like Pandora or one of the really cool rides. But So you can't really buy your way into it. The only thing you can buy is like a private tour guide where you can cut the line, but that's like thousands. So that's like a couple
I didn't
$1,000
do
or something. You can get that, and you can do like a group of 8, and it's like $4,000. So, but it's like group of 8 for a day with a private tour guide. They take you behind the scenes and they cut you right through every line.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah,
cool
yeah.
if you're going to pay some real money. But
That's
uh,
underneath of the
yeah, they do some cool stuff, but that's all they
Yes.
offer. They don't offer like $50 more, and you can cut the line. I like being able to cut the line.
yeah.
I have an AMC thing where I have an A list, and I can just cut the line right in White Marsh, and everybody like stands in lines, and I just cut right in front.
Yeah, I think you guys are like Universal Studios. It has like a cool boardwalk too.
Hmm.
And then I was just about to ask you something else. I just totally forgot. But yeah, I like Universal Studios. That was fun.
So I won't tell her you like that, but I'll tell her you like the meal plan. She'll be her new BFF. She'll be like, "It's so great, ain't it?" So she's, I don't know.
I mean, when you have a big family, I think you like for me, if I wouldn't eat it, but like as much as my boys eat, they would probably eat half of my food. So
Yeah, true. Awesome. I'm going to dinner, so I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll see everyone next week. Have a good holiday.
yeah,
Let me know when you get some of your stuff done, and Nancy, you got any cool stuff that comes up, and then Alec, once you get, I'll make sure she sends you over the video now. I'll tell her to send it to me so I can get it over to you, and just let me know when you come up with whatever you got, and if you need any help, because she can jump in and help you. Probably not tomorrow, but the next day or Friday easily. Okay.
Awesome.
Cool, man.
Thanks,
All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
so
See you.
much.
All right, have a good-
See you guys.
We appreciate you.
Oh, we learned everything. We even learned about travel today, right? Like we're taking it to the next level. You got how to spend the money we're making. Right? Disney
Meal
cruise
plan.
and no meal. Well, if you want to spend the money, the meal plan is the best way, is what we determined, because that will cost you more money, but you won't. You'll be paid for it. See you, everyone. Have a good day.
Tomato.
Bye.
See ya.
Yeah.